Something's not wrong. Something is not right or is wrong. Yeah, there's an echo in here. Yep, there it is. What's up, everybody? I got to shut this echo down. Stand by. Let's see. Where's it coming from? Yeah, it's an echo, all right. What happened? Where'd the echo come from? That's what's wrong with that. All the monitors are off. Hold on, you know what? Let's go to volume settings. That now. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, no. What the heck is going on? What's up, everybody? I got to solve this problem. You guys hearing this? Oh, I know where it is. Hold on. It's coming from. I brought up the YouTube of me tonight, and I forgot to mute it. So that's where it's coming from. But you guys probably won't hear it because I'm hearing it and hearing it. It was making me nuts. This way I can monitor it both from my general console and just to see what's going on out, on your end, right? Because us YouTubers, we really don't have a good way of monitoring that. And I've Googled it, and there's some cheesy ways of going about it. I don't know. There's got to be a better way. I mean, yeah, probably. Money, expensive equipment. What's up? Happy New Year to everybody. I have not seen you guys in a while. I've been busy doing stuff and resting and, just kind of chilling out, getting used to the whole New Year thing. Got a lot of stuff going on. We got to have our agendas. Let me see. Let me bring up my tonight's agenda. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah, it should be out there. So you guys are talking about Chrome and Avast. I remember Avast browser. The Avast suite for Windows 7 worked really good. They had a bunch of other stuff. And I remember I used to use all of that stuff back in the day. What was the other thing you guys were talking about? Firefox. Yeah, I remember that. I thought they killed all of that stuff. But I just put DuckDuckGo or whatever on top of Chrome and then leave it. And I don't put a whole lot of extensions on there. So that's how I get around stuff. Yeah, to try Chrome, Johnny Bravo. So welcome to tonight's show. We got tonight's Clown World, right? We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. Not a lot, but, I figure, why not, right? It's cold out. It's really windy up here. It's dreary. It's been raining a lot, like ridiculous amounts of rain. And, might as well just kind of get into a few things. Some depressing shit, since it's like, this is the kind of weather that makes you want to just, like, slit your wrist. And you're like, I don't want to do anything. I'm just done. Let's turn on a little bit of light. Oh, that's a bright light. Well, then if I can't see myself, then let's see. I want to be able to see. Got a message from Ed Arch. What's Ed up to? All right. Yes, we got some stuff. Clown World. We're going to get a little bit into Clown World in a minute. And just a couple of things. So where was the other? I had a pick open. Yeah, here we go. The Brussels Times. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But before we get into that, we'll go through Clown World, some LED headlights, which I just got in. We're going to have to open them up in a little bit. Got them here in this box. So company sent me over. Links are all in the description for this stuff. And I'll be installing them, I don't know, when it stops raining and is freezing cold. What I want to do is I want to take some shots of the van in the dark and just here in the yard, I got a really long section, and just try to project the headlights out into the yard and kind of walk around and set the camera in a couple of spots, mark off those spots, and just kind of get some, video and pictures of what it looks like before I install these. And these are pretty nice. We'll cover them. We'll open them up in a little bit. And then also we got I got a lithium ion 20 amp hour battery coming soon. We're going to take a look at that in a little bit. So that's going to be on its way soon. And I think that's going to be a good choice for tractor batteries, and even some small, you know, uninterruptible power supplies, or, you know, things of that nature that you can, if you want, you can even charge them off of your solar controls if you have that. That's something that I do want to get into in the future. You know, you don't necessarily need Li-ion for any of this stuff, of course, but the power advantages are definitely there, and they charge up really fast, a lot of these things, and they don't leak. And not all of them catch on fire, right? You know, I'm a tech head, like a lot of us, and as much as I'm against the cars and the trucks, because it's just not the right technology, and it's also happening for the wrong reasons. And I wanted to mention, I was just kind of chatting with one of the fellows that was over here, a customer, and a little older fellow, which is kind of hard to imagine anybody being older than me, since it was just my birthday last weekend. So now 60 effing years old, fellas. I can't believe it. It's like, where, I said to my daughter, I said, none of this was supposed to happen, right? First of all, you moving out, that's wrong, okay? I never sat down and thought about when you were a kid, like, ooh, what's the date going to happen that my daughter's going to move out? At 23. That is, Christine, if you're listening, this is completely unacceptable. Get your ass home. You know, it's like, this is not, I wasn't planning on any of this. This is, no. Okay. So what was I saying? Anyway, the guy says to me, he goes, we were talking about, you know, the batteries and battery cars, and you know, he's looked into it. This guy has some money, so the money isn't the issue. And he said to me, and I'm going to steal this, and I told him, he said, it's an evolution, not a revolution. So they're trying to turn it into a revolution, where they basically just shut everything else down and just force this on people. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, I did a video on, with Redacted, all of these brand new trucks and cars just sitting in lots, and they can't get rid of them. There was one, like I forget what it is, but it's like an F-150, you know, battery operated. And they got it down to like $7,000, and people didn't want it. But that's cars, right? We all like the batteries for our cameras and all of that. And we like our drills, and, you know, we could not operate these smaller devices without this kind of technology. And it's a really good technology for this stuff, right? But for cars and trucks, anyway, we'll get into a little bit of that in a bit. And also a little bit about, you know, I wanted to show off some camera stuff and talk a little bit about camera tech and technology, and also some music. Let's see, John Ramsden, welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. That's a new name to me. He says, I want to upgrade headlights on my 71 Camaro to LEDs. Yeah, already did all the other lights on. Really? So that's really good. Because I know a lot of people have had problems with some of the earlier ones. They weren't flashing. They were causing all kinds of issues. And then he says, Chicanic has a rant about battery-powered everything. She said they're taking it down on her. Yeah. Yeah, of course, because she had said recently, I just want to get the TGM forum, audio is breaking up a little bit. Not sure if it's just me. If anybody else notices it, let me know. It could be me. I do have the noise cancellation. John Ramsden Arch, it ain't new. Bravo. What does that mean? It ain't new. Clarify that. So let me back up a little bit, and let me know if you do hear it breaking up, fellas. In fact, what I can do is let me just turn the noise cancellation down just a bit. Now, I can't hear it because I can't monitor my audio yet without it causing a bit of feedback. That's unfortunate. And it could be the noise. It could also be the fact that I'm very gained up and I should have some bodacious audio right now. That could be part of it too. Now, let me see. Let me catch up. So I'm just going to tie it down a little bit. So just playing around with some gear and whatever. So I said I thought so Brett says meow. So Charlie's here. And TGM Forum said, didn't Google put a delay on browsers other than Chrome? Sure, I read something about it. A delay, really? Bravo says, AVAS Browser 5, I think, is a tighten up Edge, but not sure. Could be. TGM says, I use Edge mainly unless I'm testing. Okay. Edge, I use it sometimes, but mostly I stay with Chrome. Unfortunately, today, I don't know what we could do, honestly. I don't think there is a way around any of it, because essentially they've gotten their stinky little hands in everything. So that could be a problem, no matter what you do. Let me bring this website up. It gives a little bit more light in my face. Johnny Burrow says, DuckDuck has a browser now, too. Really? Because I just put the extension on. I'll have to check that. You know, for a YouTuber, because I do everything, like I'm actually running through YouTube Studio right now, which is Google. I mean, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, Google, Chrome, YouTube Studio, these things, they work properly together for us on the YouTube side. It's seamless. I'm not running a third-party software really to be on YouTube other than OBS software, which just allows me to connect all these different cameras and whatever streams and whatever that I want to put on. But I'm not going through, you know, any other like Zoom or some of the others. You know, like Ken and some of those fellas, they actually go through, what's the name of that program? What is it? What did I forget it? It's on my desktop. I actually have it. Let me see if I can, if it'll trigger my memory. Let's see, what do I usually use? Do I have it up here? I thought I did. I tried it. I actually ran it. We're going to be using it in the future. Just because it's easy to bring people up on. I thought I had a link to it. Like I kept it on my desktop so that I could just kind of click on it. Yeah, I wonder what I did with it. StreamYard is what it is, but I have the account and I've tried it. And of course I've been on like Ken's or whatever through StreamYard. And I can still use all of my stuff, but it's a huge delay. Everything will then be in yet another delay. Let's see. Let me know if I go out of focus, because I'm also trying out center focus, and I think I might want to change it, because looking over here at this monitor, it looks like it might. Yeah, I'll get up in a little bit and I'll tweak it to another focus setting. It doesn't look terrible. Let's see. Let me catch up. No echo here, Arch. Sounds good to me. No echo here. This is nuts. Bravo says, gonna shut this down. Try Chrome. Got a message from Ed. Chrome seems more responsive. Yeah, I think Chrome is a little bit more responsive. It seems to be, you know, they're about the same. It's just, it seems to be tuned in with the stuff that I do. Is it a security risk? Everything is today. They're watching everything. You know, boy, there's a show in that, huh? This is, and you got, Brett says, and you got some of my vids to show. Yup. Yeah, later on, we're going to take a walk down. So Brett did 2 videos, which I want to scroll through. And congratulations, Brett. I thought they were very good. The one of them I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago that we all really need to do a shop tour. So Brett's the first one. And I thought it was a good shop tour. And he's got a couple of things in there that I'm like, I have that. I have that. By the way, where do you see his machines that he's got for floor buffing? He's like all of them. And then he did another video on the Toro machine, which I just got one of those Toro machines in. And, you know, the big one, the 30-inch personal pace, you know, master cut. Customer just came, dropped off a couple of machines, which I'll show you later. Some nice snow blowers that I'm working on right now. A lot of it's carburetor oriented, whatever. So there's going to be a lot of carburetor videos coming out for me. And we'll get to that in a bit. So Brett does the Time Master, and he does this one thing in there where I'm like, I'm going to have to complain here. I want my money back, Brett. He's showing off, and then he goes, and he mentions the Honda HR-17, and he just goes like this, like real quick. Right? Like real quick and then back. He's like, the Honda 217, like, HR 217. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't tease a Honda guy like that. Like, that's like saying, you know, fellas, you know, there's a really hot naked chick over there. Look, see, look, hot naked chick over there. See, look, she's really good. Check her out. No, you can't do that. What are you doing? You got to go over there now. And then he writes back. He's like, yeah, it's in another video. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see. Look, hot chick, fellas. Nope. You can't do that. You just can't do stuff like that. If you say it and you don't turn the camera, then it's okay. All right? Because I said. Because once you say it and you turn the camera and we can't see it, That's not fair. All right. That's that you broke the rules. Okay. Let me see. StreamYard. Yes. Thank you. Jimmy, audio is an issue. Yeah. TGM says, hi, Arch. What's up, DJ? John Ramsden, Arch. I ain't new, bravo. Let's see. John Ramsden. TGM Forum, audio is better now. You've adjusted your noise cancel. I think that's what it was, because you can be really aggressive. When I tweaked it, it was right before the show, and the heater came on. So the heater is loud, and it started blowing air this way. And so it's like, I wonder if I can get rid of that. And I've been playing around with everything, and it does look a little bit out of focus. I do want to try to see if I can change that. This one here should be doing pretty good. So what I've been testing, which I'll talk a little bit later, is I changed the camera configurations a little bit, and I've been trying to run some of them in automatic and see how the automatic does versus the manual. This one is in mostly manual. Every time I try to run it in automatic, it doesn't like it. It's a more complicated camera. It's a bit more advanced than the other one, but it's on spot focus, and spot focus is really good if you choose the spot. So if I go like this, right? Well, there's not enough light in it, but yeah, it's having a hard time focusing. And because for two reasons, it's got a face override. So its first priority is if there's no face in the picture, it should spot focus. And it's not really doing it. That's why I want to play with it more. So I want to change that, but its other priority is the face. It's supposed to be looking at the face. So I wanted to play around. Last week, I think I changed it. It was different, and I had it on a different focus, and it stopped this focus breathing thing, and it looked pretty good. So I'm going to go back to that in a little bit. Robert says, sorry I'm late. Because I already had... No, I don't care. No, see, that's irrelevant. I don't care. Okay? Nobody cares. What we care is you mentioned it, and of course, us Honda fellers, right? I put out the video on the Honda HR 217, the older one, best damn mower on the planet, and I stick to that. Are there other mowers that are really good? Yeah, kinda, But to me, the 217, I think, has got a lot of features on it that I really enjoy, and I like cleaning and working with the machine. It doesn't require much, although the rear drive on any machine is problematic, and it does require a certain amount of maintenance to keep it running smooth. Let's see. Backwoods Boy is here. Good evening. Good evening, Backwoods Boy. Let's see. Renegade Garage. Hey, Renegade. Welcome to the channel. And let's see. Hey, Renegade's here. Yeah, I didn't see you up, Renegade. I didn't see your show this week. Well, I was also under the weather, and I was also trying to get a lot of stuff done, but I didn't notice that it was on. But it's like last weekend, I took a nap, and I was like, well, I want to catch Ken Small Engines, which is at 2. I woke up, by the time I came out, he was like 3. So I caught some of it. And today, I was surfing. So last weekend, I just took time off. I mean, off. Like I'm not doing anything. It's my birthday weekend. I'm exhausted, at the end of the year, right? And I was really working hard to try to get to the point of where I would be done mostly for Christmas. I could have the day, not be exhausted, not be one of those, lumps that can happen to me, and be around, the family and be somewhat lively and responsive. And then after that, I just had to get some more stuff done, and I had, appointments to deal with and stuff to do, and I'm running around. And come like last weekend, I was like, I'm done. I'm just done. I'm not doing anything. Like literally, I just want to eat, take painkillers, sit on a bag of ice, right? Inject insulin, right? Because I'm messed up. I got health issues, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. This Ken. Mel, it needs a Renegade Garage. Hey, Robert, happy belated Arch. How old? I'm 60, 60, right? And I'm like, I hit 60, and I'm like, oh, my God. Like, part of me doesn't feel old until, like, this weekend and, like, last weekend, where you get to a point, and I'm like, I can't do anymore, Because I started going for therapy and, like, physical therapy just to learn some stretching exercises and stuff. And so I'm going through all of the stuff with the girl, right? They're doing all the intake stuff. And then they want to go take me out into the gym area. And I'm like, wait, I haven't checked my blood sugar because I was in a rush to get there and I was doing a lot of stuff, that day. And I ate and I forgot to inject. And so I prick my finger and go through it. And the meter comes back. It's like 4 and change. And she freaked out. She went into her office and didn't come out for a while, I guess because she had to talk to doctors and stuff. And they're like, you're not allowed to touch anything in here unless you're like 250 or under. I'm like, good luck with that. I need to, really concentrate on that. And usually it's not that high, but I had to inject right there in front of her. And it freaked her out. It freaked her out, which is understandable. Like, it's one of those things where it's such a bizarre case because I never had any issues with diabetes. I was always checked, but I was exposed to something, and which I wanted to show you guys real quick. But before we get started, you guys are all punk kids. Donnie Bravo, because it's like between Johnny and Robert, right? Because Robert's always saying how old he is, right? He's the senior here until somebody else comes along and like Hank will go, I'm the oldest one here. That's just too funny. But before we get started, all right, let me shut this off. Shut this piece off here. Yeah, playing around with my stuff. It could be fun, right? Yeah. Today's agenda is now gone, right? We're done with that. Little graphic, right? I'm trying to work out some graphic scenarios. Learn a little bit more about graphics. How do you make transparencies, which is part of, I'm trying to figure out as well how to make transparencies for things like logos and stuff. And it's not easy to do, but it's like anything. Once you play with it for a little while, that's what she said. No, she didn't say that, actually. She didn't say that. Right? She stopped saying that. Hold on. We got to kind of pre-game a little bit. And it's one of my favorite things.
I know everyone has their panties in a bunch right now about how I've licked my own excrement before, but I will say I do not do that anymore. I have learned, and if I do it, I make sure it's clean, usually.
What the?
Oh my God. Isn't that bizarre, right? Isn't that just absolutely bizarre? I was thinking about that when I first showed you guys that in a video I did a couple of weeks ago. I was talking about that. And at first I thought, and you're thinking about like, hey, fellas, I met this really, she's kind of like a nice chick. She's a little young for me, but, I'm hanging out with her and she seems really cool. And we start going out. And, I noticed about a month or so ago after hanging out with her, I went to kiss her and stuff. And she had really bad breath, and I don't understand why. And I was thinking about that. Imagine, she's kind of cute. You date a chick like that. She looks fairly pretty, right? I think she's, decent. Doesn't look like she has too much makeup on and everything. I don't know. Maybe her personality is right. And then I started thinking a little bit later, I'm like, no, you could never do anything like that. If you found out, right? If you walked in on that and she was having a private moment, and you walked in that, or a few months go by and you get to be being busy and getting your shag on, right? And she's like, I want to surprise you with something. And you're like, oh, really? Surprise? I like surprises. She's like, yeah, I don't know if you're going to really like this surprise. Okay, well, what is it? Well, she's like, let me show you. And she just squats one out, lays it out on a cable on the floor, and then starts licking it. And you're like, whoa, stop. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, oh, my God. Now, you turn 60, and then you start thinking, well, maybe if I had a little bit more money, I could probably deal with it. Why is that? Well, you're 60 years old. You've been doing all kinds of stuff all your life, and you're thinking, things are getting a little bit boring. Maybe that would be some action around here. That might spice up my life a little bit. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I think I can emotionally handle that nowadays because I'm older, and I may be able to stop myself from hurling initially, or maybe I'd hurl a few times. But I think I get used to it. But then the more I thought about it, like that comes at a cost, right? Chicks like that, they're gonna come at a cost. I mean, sooner or later, that's gonna cost you money, and I don't have the money for that. I don't have. I just don't have the money for stuff like that in my life. It'd be interesting though, because at first you'd be like, she's like really cool, I like her. She's kind of neat. Twilight Zone. Oh, let me catch up with you guys. Oh, God, that is so long. Let's see. Chopped over Brett. Hello. Blah, blah, blah. It's been going for a little bit. Let's see. I got to catch up. Happy belated. Hello, backwoods. Hey, Ken. Happy birthday. Mr. Modal. 60 for me, too. 2 months ago. Yeah. Happy birthday, Ken. It says hello. Even Brett. For me, it's 57 in August. Nice, you youngin'. Ken says, hello. Renegade says, mine was 320 this morning when I woke up. Wow, Renegade. Yeah, that's high. I try to, when I go to sleep, I kind of try to dial in, and I tend to wake up a little low. And then I got to get going. I put a little honey in my coffee, and I'll have something. I've been doing much better at night, but I eat like a pig, I mean, I weighed like nothing when I got out of the hospital, so I don't need to eat like that anymore. And now I want to work on my diet. So that's another kind of resolution for this year. Backward says, hello, Ken, Johnny Bravo, you guys are all punk kids. Ken says, hey, Renegade. What's up, talk with Brett? 63 for me. TGM says, I'm on the slippery, the down slope. Go out and get yourself a nice girl like this, right? Help you out a little bit. Backward says, that says, hey to Brett. And TGM. By the way, Arch Trolley is his own video now. Really? Really? Did I not catch that one? Renegade says, I need that done to my logo. Yeah, Renegade. That's why I've been learning a little bit about and playing with some of these graphics and looking to see. Because I needed help for this. And TJ helped me out a lot, too, and my other friend. Because I was having, like, as they say in the, I used to work for the Navy, the Department of Defense, with I-14s and everything. And what would happen is when we installed, like, the new dashboards and they got the new helmets and everything, it would cause what they used to call a helmet explosion. That's when so much stuff, information is coming into your eyes and your brain and your ears all at once. You just can't deal with it anymore. And so what they started to do over time was offload a lot of that. And that's why you don't need an engineer on aircrafts anymore. Like, I remember when I was a kid, you used to be able to go say hi to the pilot. They'd give you the little wings, and there would be a pilot, a co-pilot, and an engineer. And now it's like these damn planes, they fly themselves. So, but I've been learning a lot about how to make graphics, and I was never really into any of that stuff. I'm more into the tech, like the bells and the whistles and, the specs. But this is the creative side, and I kind of have a little bit of a creative side. So I got to thinking, well, how do I make this? Like, what is a transparency, and how do you do it? And a lot of this software is available today for free. So I started looking down that road, and I got a friend of mine who's younger, and he actually took it in school, and he gave me a bit of it, some help. But I need to go back to him to get a little bit more assistance. But I started doing it on my own, and that's why I've been bringing up some graphics and stuff just to see how they work, how they look, how do I work them in, keep it simple. Let's see, Bravo says, I'll be 74 mid-March. Man, still hit the gym 5 days a week, still race cars, still ride motorcycles. Life is great. Good for you, brother. It's good to be able to keep doing that stuff, if you can. Yeah. Ken goes, Mr. Roll, that's just wrong. Let's see, hold on. It tends to go up on me too fast. This is hi, Ken. I found a video on a hairy armpit sound effect is the best part of it. Nice. Revert to what I said before. Her breath smells like a diaper, Brett says. Yeah, and it probably would. I mean, that's just rough, right? Bravo says, all women's cost money, man. Eventually, the cost gets too high. Blarney, hey, Blarney, retiring in March at 62. Good for you, man. Definitely. Get out of the rat race. Renegades says, hey, hello to everybody. Ken, this is Mr. All. Hello to Renegade. Ronnie Bravo, retired at 67. Retirement is the best job I ever had. Besides being a dad. Yes, definitely. Absolutely. It totally is. It's a crazy world out there. Arch, you need a 3D printer and start a beginner's guide channel. And Robert says, Rio Radar Intercept Officer. Back in the day when this shop was more for HVAC controls and stuff is what I did. And I had a plotter. And I had like two computers. I had like one for gaming and fooling around, and I had the other computer that ran all the office stuff. So I had a really big plotter. It's like a D size or something like that. And we were going to get an even bigger one and shove it somewhere else because the really big plotters are huge. So I used to run AutoCAD and things like that. And I was thinking about 3D printer, and I'm like, no, that's helmet explosion again, because I watch, what's his name? Ken watches him. There's the heat. See if you hear it. All right, it'll get a little bit louder. Watch Wes work, and this guy, he's like a mini genius. Like, he does all kinds of things, and he likes to print out stuff, and it's useful stuff for his job, for work, for projects, for the YouTube stuff, and even for the camera gear, right? You can print out a lot of really cool things. Because I look at some of the tech that's out there now, and a lot of the accessories that you see out there, adapters and stuff, I could make them all on 3D printers in a lathe. And, at some point in the future, I would like to get into that. Like, I would like to have a small lathe and a small, like, more, turret mill press. And Johnny, he's in the background going, I got all that. I would like to have a nice 3D printer. That would be nice. Okay. Yeah. I would enjoy that. Yeah, I enjoy him. Yeah, Ken, definitely. He's cool. DNR, welcome, DNR. Says hello. Yeah. He was ex-mechanical engineer, CNC machinist. Yeah, and you can tell. But it's more than that, because he knows a lot about electronics, about programming. I experimented with programming. I think it was like, I don't know, almost 10 years. I have about 10,000 hours into gaming. And a lot of that time is actually running servers and scripting for servers. So I learned how to script a lot. I don't play it anymore. It actually screwed up my thumb. There's like one of these carbuncle things, whatever they're called over here. It caused repetitive stress injury to my hands and my fingers and my wrist, and it goes all the way up into my shoulder. And I'm a mechanic, and and playing guitar and stuff. So a lot of that I had to stop, including like even editing. And for a while I had two mice. I've got this keyboard over here, and so this keyboard is kind of neat, and it has a section on this side, and I can actually show you that. Why is that still on? This should be off. Yeah, that should be off. But let me show you this here. One of the things I like to do, here we'll do the droid cam and see if it's on. Now this is the droid cam, right? It's basically just a cell phone camera. Focus, right? So, and that's a cell phone camera. So this section here is all macros. And so I used to have a mouse over here like this mouse. Simple mouse, because this you could use in either direction. So I would use two mice plus any of the commands that I would put on the keyboard. And I still do that. How do I get that agenda thing off? Let me get rid of that. So I still do that, and that way I don't have as much stress on my right hand from doing everything just with the right. And I can, kind of do my thing. I need another mouse, especially for video editing, because the way I like to video edit. And let me come back. We'll use that in a bit for some unboxing. So let's get the party started. We got to do a little bit of pregame. Right. Let's see here. That is so wrong on levels. On levels. So let's start off with, well, you know, one of my favorites, fellas. You know, you guys, you definitely got that right. Ken West is going to go on with, yeah, I really like West. I enjoy him. You know. He says, I do small engine repair, little Renegade. Brother says, I wish I could afford a CNC mill. Yeah, just have a couple of manual mills and a couple of manual lathes. Nice. Bloodnose goes, dilly dilly! I would love to have a small mill in a lathe. Yeah, dilly dilly. Let's do a little dilly dilly here. Let's do a little bit of dilly dilly. To the pit of misery.
Sir Jeremy, you are a true friend of the crown. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. Madam Susan, you are an even truer friend of the crown. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. What is that?
This is a spiced honey mead wine that I have really been into lately. So bad. Dilly dilly, right?
Please follow Sir Brad. He's going to give you a private tour of the pit of misery.
I'm sorry, what? Pit of misery, dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. I love that. I get such a kick out of that crap. It's just so pathetic. Yes, I would like to have all that stuff too. Small mill and everything. And I'm working on it. I see them around here a lot. They're still around. I remember when a lot of that stuff left the island, you know, all through, well, towards the end of my career and everything. It was so heartbreaking. All of these jobs that were basically jobbers, subcontractors for Grumman and all the other aerospace industry that was here. What a shame. But that's the world we live in. Speaking of the crazy world we live in, get some of this crazy stuff out of the way. So the crazy chicks to some other crazy things. So I was thinking about, I definitely got like this sore throat thing and everybody's sick, right? And so I love a good conspiracy. So I'm thinking to myself, you know, I was outside a lot. And let's just take a look at, well, for like 2 weeks, we had decent weather, like on and off. And every day, this is what goes on. So let me show you what goes on above my head every day. Isn't that nasty? That's what it becomes, right? So I'll just show that one thing. Oh, there's Mr. Dog. Let me come back. So I wanted to show you guys a couple of things. So this is the kind of crap that's outside. And so I like to poke around. So Texas actually was supporting this, and I don't have it with me right now, but yeah, Texas has, it's basically it's a website where you go to register, you know, everything commerce. So whether you're a barber or a farmer and you want to spray over your crops, or you want it to rain and you want to seed for rain, or there's so much money out there now for this global warming crap, okay, that they just keep spraying. Let's take a look at this for a minute here. So shopping around the other day, and so this is the legislature. It's a bill they're trying to pass in New Hampshire, House Bill 1700. And it says here, bill title, prohibiting the intentional release of polluting emissions, including cloud seeding, weather modification, excessive electromagnetic radio frequencies, and microwave radiation, making penalties for violations of such provision. I thought that was very interesting, and I'm starting to see this more. A number of states are recognizing this because the money's been out there for spraying. Well, what are they spraying? Well, I'll just do a quick web search here because I don't have it up. Let me see if I remember. It is, you know, it's not coming to me at the moment, but it is for, it's, all right, here we go. Metallized fuel. Well, let me see. Yeah, here we go. There's a link here. So it's originally it's military. Yeah, let's kill that. So this is synthesis of fuel systems, boron containing metallized fuel for vehicles. And this has been going on for a long time. So effectively, this you can go to any one of these websites. There's quite a number. This is SAE International. Here's another one here. And I'll just give you the straight and skinny. Combustion studies of metallized fuels, solid ramjets. This was studied with ramjets initially, but this is from JPP, made by ARC, Aerospace Research, etc. So just kind of spill it down a little bit, because I don't want to stay on it too long. They started studying this. So what they use is in the industry, there is these microprocessing that goes on. These are really super small, ground up, really tiny little particles. And they put it in everything. Titanium dioxide is one of the most common. It's used to keep your cheese from sticking together. It's used to keep, it's in your talcum powder and whatever, to keep your toes nice and your hiney nice. They've been shoving it. This industry is completely, it's just not regulated by the FDA. This is all the nanoparticulate that they talk about, and you may have heard. And they're shoving it in everything. And I watch it. I watch Flight Radar, and I've seen it. I've seen C-130s and stuff come out of where Obama lives and fly right over the coast here and right across, and then they stop spraying. Super tankers. You'll see them on Flight Radar. They won't give you a lot of information, but there usually is an IFF response. The idea is with boron and aluminum is there's a couple extra oxygen molecules. Kind of like nitrous does, right? You put nitrous, tie it in with some extra fuel. You've got extra oxygen molecules available. You can put a little bit more fuel in. If you can burn more fuel and more oxygen, you can make more power. And this is a dry nanoparticulate type of substance that you can mix in the fuel. Now, with a ramjet, it's a little bit different because there's really no moving parts. With these things, I mean, they're just jet engines. Does it save a little bit of fuel? Does it work better? I'm sure it does. I don't know if it wears out the engines any faster. But see, the thing is all this money is made available for this. And there's no licensing. There's no announcing to the public. And it's getting into the material on the ground. We're breathing it in. It's falling on the crops. It's falling on the ground. It's falling on the groundwater. And it's getting... Aluminum is really bad. Aluminum will cause all kinds of brain issues. When the plants take up aluminum oxides, which don't belong in the ground, what it does is it basically makes the plant, puts the plant in a situation where it will not take up any other minerals. And eventually, if you get enough aluminum in the ground, the plants just won't grow because they can't mineralize. They can't get enough absorption and uptake of the nutrients and minerals that it needs to survive. Now, I don't know when we're going to hit those kinds of numbers, but none of this is good. And more recently, I'm talking to my daughter and a few others, people that they come in contact with, whether in the hospital, doctors, and pharmacy, before the flu season even, right? And this one person was saying how, they went to their doctor because they have all these symptoms. The doctor says it's allergies. It's allergies to what? This is the wintertime. There's no pollen or anything. And it was like last year before the spring, my friend Elizabeth was complaining about all the dust on the cars and in the house. And she goes, it must be all this pollen. I said, Elizabeth, there's nothing blossoming yet. It's still the end of the winter. I said, look up in the sky every now and then. What do you think that is? They're not, and I can't say certain words, they're not trails, all right? Those last a few thousand feet. They disappear in about a minute or so. This turns the whole sky into just fuzz. Anyway, that's my rant. Let me catch up. Let me catch up to you guys. Dino says hello. Small engine repair. I wish I could afford a CNC mill. Yep. Dilly dilly. Yeah. I would love to have, Renegade says, I would love to have a small mill and a lathe. And they're out there. That's the thing. And they're definitely out there. some of the older machines. I don't think I really want one of those small, Taiwan or even Chinese machines. The Taiwans would be better, but the Chinese machines, I think that would be a little too small. What I need to do is learn a little bit more about how these things wear and like what to really look for. Now, I know some of that, but I want to get a little bit more interested in it. And I've been watching some more videos on it. And there's a lot of really good videos on like what to look for, what size machine you would like. Not necessarily to do automotive work, but I don't want to get stuck in something. But by the time you load the bed up with a decent chuck and, maybe you've got a head on one side, you just don't have enough to do anything. I don't really need to do a crankshaft, but I don't want to be stuck with going, oh yeah, I can mill this, right? I can turn this, but I can't turn something 3 times the size. That's no good, right? I need something a little bit bigger. So eventually, if I can save the money over the next couple of years, and I don't really have a lot of room in the shop either, so I'd have to rethink, which adds to the expense because I may have to buy different tool setups for in here, like, toolboxes and everything. So then you really have to start to think, what the hell are you going to put it? I mean, I have the 2 buildings, but, they're already kind of saturated. And then I do the repair work and everything else, and machines come in and go out and come in and go out. It gets expensive. And then the tooling costs, right? The actual tools themselves that you use to turn with or whatever, all the mills and everything, they add up, especially if you want something decent. But you don't need a lot. But, if you don't have anything, you can't do anything. So, my brother says, I got a little Benchmaster mill and a little Atlas 618 lathe. Yeah, those are pretty decent. The bigger ones are Lagon FTV2.-S and a Craftsman 12. Yeah, I've seen the Craftsmans. Yep. Bravo says, they're watching you. Yeah, they probably are, right? It's crazy. So shout out to New Hampshire for at least trying. And I've been talking about this with my friend who's a lawyer, retired, successful lawyer and businessman. And if I had showed him this stuff a few years back, he would have said I'm nuts. Now he knows a lot about it. And over the years, well, he's a very conservative person, so that's good. But over the years, I've planted these seeds. And I've told him some of the stuff that was going to come down in the future. And he would be like, you're crazy, bro. I need to look into it. And because he's like an investigative lawyer. Like he's really good with research. And then he'd start poking around. He'd go, holy shit, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm right. Because I know, because my father was a private investigator. So I guess it's in my blood, right? So I'd start to turn up all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, unfortunately, they're starting to remove a lot of this stuff from the web because they don't want you to see it. Depending on where you live. If you live in certain areas in Europe, you're not going to get anything. Right? If you're in like China, they got that locked down. So it's unfortunate. DNR said, I work at a machine shop for 4 years. Nice. I wish I had done that. I didn't spend enough time actually learning that. I worked in a machine shop and a fabrication facility, and I didn't get to do a lot in the machine shop area. Let's see. Shopsmith for wood, cool. Smithy for metal, even cooler. The Smithies are nice, but they're a little small. I was more into wood stuff for a long time. And I think now it's a good time to get into metal because I've never been able to do that. Renegade's headed to bed. Take care, everybody. Let's see, where am I? The Rockwell Uniplane, yeah. Robert says, good night, Renegade. DNR said, thanks again, Robert. You're welcome. If you got small mill or lathe, you will very quickly outgrow it. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm afraid of. Ask me how I know, yeah. And like I said, it's not so much that I'm looking to turn crankshafts and stuff, but and even here, like you're starting to see, by the way, you're starting to see a lot of these machines come up. From Brooklyn, the Bronx, all the way back to the end of the island, right? Because nobody wants to have their engines fixed anymore. And that's a real shame. That's another thing I would love to do. But, I mean, they're out there. All these machines are coming up just on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, ask me how I know. Ken says also phase converter needed for 3. Yes, if you go 3-phase, some of these units can be run on single phase, but you're going to need a phase. Yeah, absolutely right. You will need one. But I just upgraded my service about a year or so ago. So I put the 220 up to the house, and I ran like, what is it, like double aught or single aught out here, and I've got 100 to 150 amps I can steal out here. So it's a 150 amp panel, but I think I just have a 100 amp breaker out here. And I set it up into two panels. So I got a sub panel, which is just 220, and then the other one is all my 110. And if I had to, I have enough room to add a phase inverter and stuff and fool around there if I really needed to, just out here. But I want to try to avoid that. It says, a rotary phase converter for my, he says, I have a rotary phase converter for my bot clone in South Bend. Yeah, you have some nice stuff in there. You need to do a shop tour. Ken, you need to do a shop tour. I'm calling it. Shop tour for this year. Everybody's got to do a shop tour. And Bridgeport, yeah. Oh, God, those are so nice. Let's see. Dino says, hello, Boneyard. Hey, Edward Schrick. What up, peeps? What up, bro? Welcome. Here's Ed. Yep, there he is. Lonnie Stone did some lathe work when I used to build gate valves and pipe company. Yeah. Yeah, see what I mean? What's SOSDD? Shop tour dilly. Yeah, dilly. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me close this out. Combustion of metallized fuel. It probably works really good. Yeah. So let's take a look at this next thing here. So I got these in. Let's see what these look like. Let's see here. By the way, check this thing out. What do I do with it? I was just playing with it. Let's see. I had it out. Here it is. Check this thing out. I cleaned this thing up. Let me show you. I'll go to the droid cam. It'll focus. All right, it's a buck knife, but now this was my dad's, and it says partisan on it. So where it would say buck, now I don't think he had this from the war, but the partisans, it says down here, you're not going to be able to see it, but the partisans, this was something that was also available in the PX for the GIs. And he gave this to me like in the 70s. I'm not really a big knife person, but it was a mess. But it's just a standard nice, really it's a buck, really. But because it's usually it says buck right here, but it says partisan. And I don't really have enough information on partisan. I tried looking it up, but there's only so much I could find. And I have another knife of his that was in like WW2, but it's very strong. It was a mess. I mean, I cleaned it. First I cleaned it, I think, with super clean, and then I had to clean it with acid, and then I got it working and buffed it, and then I lubricated it a little bit. And I still need to hone the edge. I never honed it. Edward says, same old shit, different day. Yeah. Squeak! Ed says, the old Explorer knives. Yeah. Holy cow, I have one of those knives, bro, it says. It seems to, I gotta hone it. It's bad. The edge, I ground it, and I'm looking at it, and it's like, oh my God, it looks like a serrated knife. But I haven't had the time to just fool with it. It's going to be one of those things where, it won't cut properly. The blade was really bad. But it's straight, and I didn't have to butcher it. See how bad it is? It won't even cut that. It kind of goes through paper. I'll get the other knife in a little bit. Let's see what's in here. I'll show you now all of the websites and everything. They're down in a link in the description. Get it to focus. Let's take a peek in here. So I'm going to set up, and I want to take some pics and some video in the dark as I can, get it, of the stock headlights, which are original on the 96 van. So let's see. I should be able to just open this right up. Yeah, it'll come up. And then I'll put these in. But moreover, oh, look at that. They even give you gloves, right? A little small. Oh, look at how cute. Such nice little gloves. Yeah, they expand. Because you can't touch the bulbs. Look at that. Let's just take a quick peek. Oh, nice gloves. Oh, what's this? Is this like ribbed for her pleasure? Oh, I'm ready for the girl. I'm ready for the girls. I'm ready for that girl. Hey, honey, you can sit right here. If you want to lick your poop, you can go do that. We got these. This must be the... Yep, this is each one. You have to be very careful with it. Take a peek in the box. This is like an unboxing show. This is so boring. Nobody does unboxing shows anymore, all right? Nobody does that. Except for Arch is doing that tonight. It's got an interesting little setup there. Looks like a USB thumb drive that gets hot. So my question is, so this is a heatsink and a fan. Let me see if I can show you the fan. Let me get the little light on it. You might see it. There's a fan in there. Yep. So it's got a little bit of a heat sink and a fan. And the thing I worry about, like I've had computers for years, although I've never had too many fans die, but they do. I mean, fans suck in dirt and it's a car. So is that what you really want? Now, this is a heat sink, but it's, it's open and it's got the fan, so it will cool. And this is the power adapter for it. And it should plug right in and twist right in. I don't think we'll have any problems there. But my concern would be is, I don't know how dirty it would get in that area. There's not a lot of dirt, but we'll know when we take out the original headlights. And it's got the installation kit. And I'm going to read the directions. And it's got a little Allen wrench right here. I'll show you the website in a minute. So I thought it would be interesting. Obviously, I'm going to save my headlights. Let's put all this back. So when I find a night that's not raining, I'll be able to take some footage and try to mark off where I am. And then I'll install these. I'll go through and I'll make it a quick installation video. So this is AUXITO or AUXITO LED light. Let me show you their website. I'll catch up to you fellas. And again, link is in the description. So there should be, I forgot to, let me take these gloves off. There should be a discount on here. Yeah, this is the code. I don't think I get another discount, although I'll ask him if there's an additional discount, which it could just be this code is the discount, but I'll see if there's any additional. But if I like their products, who's this, Peggy? Oh, hi, Peggy. She says, welcome to AUXITO. Any questions about your car? Just share the year and oh, bot AI, right? So they're on sale for $91.99. This stuff is all of it is expensive, but it does get really bright. Let's see here. 70% bright. Let's just check out their let me see. I don't think we're getting any audio out of it, though. I haven't checked. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, it should come through the desktop, but it's not. Let me see why. Yeah, it's not coming through. All right, let me come back. I'll have to troubleshoot that another day. Yeah. It does look a little fuzzy, huh? Not too happy with the focus level that's going on right here. Focus. I'm going to climb around back there. Does it look like I'm in focus, fellas? Who's doing a cavity? Oh, you guys are talking behind my back. Let me catch up. Put this knife away. Let's see. Let me back up. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what you guys are up to. See, I like to keep track of what you guys are doing. All right. Somebody's always up to something. Okay, I'm up to here. Dilly dilly. Same old shit, different day. Squee. Like the old Explorer knives. Yeah. Holy cow, I have one of those. Looks like an old timer I used to have. Yeah, I think that this knife is. It's got to be because. I mean, I can't. I don't know the story. I don't remember, but it's definitely not a new knife. But one of the nice things about stuff like this is it just you don't even have to really take care of them other than keep the blade sharp. Nothing really happens to them. And I did oil the wood. The big one, W2 Archie bunker quote. Yep, the big one. Yeah, you remember that? You can't have a show like that today. Brett says he's going to do a cavity search. It says 5-knuckle shuffle. It has a fanlet. A fanlet. That's good. Joe says, hey, what's up, Joe? Thoughts on EV cars? Oh, yeah. I did a video a couple of weeks ago on the whole EV thing. You might want to check that out. It was a live show, and it's in there. Oh, yeah. Brett says 24,000 lumens. It better be bright. Yeah, they usually are. Ken says, them be one of those a-holes that blinds everyone. Dilly. Yeah, I know. That is one of the bad things about that. Hey, my friend Rob's here. What's up, Robert? Rob W. Dilly. I just want bright enough to see down the street, not bright enough to see into next week. What's with the Schrade knife? Yeah, it was actually just, you came in a little bit late. I was just talking about that. I'll show Rob a little bit better look. Well, let me, actually here. Here is this it? Let me move this. This is a picture. Yeah, let me put this up. So this is the one thing I did find. So this is, I think they called it the K bar. And, well, see, this one here, it says buck on it. But mine does not. But it's the same knife. The rivet configuration, everything is the same. Except this one is dressed a little bit more. But it has the same shape to it. Oh, let's see what else they said. It was all in the PX came at it. You could get one for $12 and it worked pretty good. If you broke one now, and you could have 2 or 3 around, right? So the fellows could have a lot of these. I'll show Rob again. So I got this from my dad, and it's basically, Rob, a buck knife, but it says partisan here where it would say buck. And I cleaned it up. My father gave this to me a long time ago, and it got lost. And so I was looking around here. Let me show you the other one. I think I have the other one handy. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. Hold on. So I cleaned it up, but these are sharper edges here, so they're not rounded. And like I said, it says partisan on it. And it, stainless steel. And I cleaned it up with some super clean. Then I had to use some acid, and then I polished it, and then I oiled it, and I started to sharpen it, but I didn't finish. Now, this one is definitely from World War II. And, yeah, let me turn some light on. There we go. This is an interesting type of plastic. I forget what they call this. It stinks if you put any kind of thinner or anything on it. I don't remember what the markings are, but I thought this was interesting. When you open it, I mean, first of all, the blade is a mess. But there are these, if I have a pencil here. Yeah, here's a pen. Hold on. Remember, we're working with cheap autofocus. It might be a little too bright, but serious. Like, these are very much shaped. If you guys can see that shape. See the shape? And they are shaped. It's not like it's broken like that. And then this is like another like wire cutter here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those things when you like wanted to like tap into a phone line or something like that, and you needed to cut a piece of wire for detonator cord or something like that. This one won't open. I can't get. I'll break it now. But yeah. And this one I sharpened a little bit, but you can only make it so sharp. So this was probably just something that they had for just general duty. It was small and useful for those things. But I don't know what age this would be. There is a mark. It looks like there's a mark here, but I can't tell you what it is. I'd have to get out a better light for that, and a magnifying glass. And I wondered, well, could it be my brother's? Could he have gotten it in the PX in the 70s? That's a possibility. I don't know. But there's not a lot of info on it. I just think it's weird that it looks like a buck, but yet it says partisan on it, which I just think is a weird, that's a weird designation for something like this. Let me catch up to you guys. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think it's a charade or whatever. We got to start saying dilly dilly in the next reunion. Yeah. Mr. Moral says, I hate those million candle power light bars on 4x4s. Yeah, well, it's only good when you're out in the middle of nowhere. Otherwise, what's the point? Buck Schrade and a few others were made. I have a few in different sizes and qualities, including a collector version. Nice. Robert Malice says, that's RM. The song Blinded by the Light is a great idea to use when you install those lights. I'm going, yeah, but you can't use any of these tunes because you just get copyright bang immediately. So you can't do stuff like that. Speaking of, we're going to get to some music in a bit. Which version, Rob? Springsteen or Manfred Mann? I like the Manfred Mann version. Ken's got to go. It's time for bed. So before we get to that, before we get to a few other things. So isn't that kind of cool, though? By the way, I was just, I hooked this guy up. Hold on. So just this little... See, and I got the little light on top. So I wanted to show you guys a couple of things about cameras a little bit. We'll do that in a little bit. But just a cell phone, and I'm using the Droid Cam software with my little light on top. And I think that's kind of neat. But like I said, we'll get to that in a bit. So that's websites there. And let me show you... I wanted to show you the battery. So I was hooked up with this company, and they have a bunch of different batteries, but this is the one I'm going to be working with. 12 volt, 20 amp hour. So this is the size, fellas, of what we would use in our tractors, especially like the lawn tractors, the smaller ones, right? And they have bigger ones, and they have those on sale as well. But, you know, you got to pick one. I'm not allowed to look at all of them because I've never worked with this company before. But I've been itching to kind of get my hands on something like this for a while. What I'm going to need to do is sit down, stick it in a bunch of tractors, and then sit down and try to think about how I want to show the differences between a battery like this that's Li-I versus an AGM versus a standard lead acid, and break it into some kind of language that's both somewhat technical and not technical, like for the layperson, right? Because people are now thinking, yeah, tractor. I don't know where she is. I mentioned to her that I'm live, but she doesn't care. So, you know, I got to think about how I want to do that. I'll experiment with the video. It'll get here at some point. But these are really nice, but they're expensive. You know, your standard stuff. I mean, they're expensive, and it's now $69.99. It was $100. If you think about it, like I was paying, I think about. Here, let me shut this off because I can see this. I don't want that in the shot. What was I paying? About $40 or so. You know what? Hold on. Let me see if I want. I just want to go see if I can change the camera a little bit. Stand by. I just want to see if it helps. I'm coming. I got to get behind the camera to do the focus. Let's see. It's on spot focus. I want zone. We'll go wide. Here we go. Well, let's see. So that's wide area photo. That looks better. I think that looks a little bit better. Although it's hard to tell sometimes, but yeah, it does look a little bit better. Yeah, I think so. It's a little hard to tell because I'm pushing these cameras, right? Your average camera, you need a camera to actually operate in light like this. This is really low light. And I think this camera here is set to ISO 2500. So that's not a lot, especially for such low light. I got to keep my feet warm. So I want to get, just out of a guess, I was paying something like $40 for an AGM more recently, or last year, or whatever. I bought one a couple of years ago. I've got an AGM down here somewhere, or maybe it's put away. I bought a whole bunch of batteries, I know back there, and I charged them. So I think the AGM is back there, but I'll dig all that out when I'm ready to do the video. So $20 for like a Walmart battery, fellas. Do you remember? I mean, like a tractor battery, like a decent, I don't know, a couple hundred cold cranking amp tractor battery. We'll say $20-ish plus tax or something. You get into something a little bit more powerful. I was using something around a 10 amp hour-ish battery for some of the smaller guys that I had put out there. I had that Jacobson. I had that little rider, the little Craftsman green rider that I really loved and I hated selling. By the way, some people are watching some of these shows that I put out there finally and commenting on it. I don't know how many are watching it. I haven't really bothered to look, but it's nice when they comment. That's always fun, especially on the oddball stuff that I do that's not how-to, which is really the direction I want to go in. So this is kind of the direction, past couple of weeks or so, maybe a month, I've been thinking more about, well, what do I want to do with YouTube this coming season? Like, what do I want to do? Well, I'm doing more service, which is nice. And I can only film so much of that because you got to get the work done, right? And then I got a bunch of carburetor videos coming out. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, God, here we go. But this is part job, right? So it's the job. It's not the YouTube so much as it's the job, service. And HIPAA has been very good to me. And I think HIPAA is probably one of the best, parts and carburetors and stuff that's out there in the aftermarket. With the way things are getting price-wise, I'm really digging some of the stuff that they've been helping me out with. And I'm like, crap, I got to do some HIPAA videos. Like, I got to do some car videos. I got to pay the bills, as it were. And I'm very happy to be working with them. And it so happened that the next few videos that will be coming out will be carburetor videos. And that's like a rite of passage. I haven't done a lot of carburetor videos. The sad thing about doing small engines, fellas, is if you start doing small engines, it's like this kind of thing where you're going to end up doing an awful lot of carb videos. And at some point, you just have to say, no more. I'm not doing any more carb videos. When I first started, I did a couple of carb videos, and they sucked. And I tried putting music in. I tried, it's like the kind of thing where it's like, oh, you want to be a small engine guy? You want to do what? Yeah, I want to do it on YouTube. Oh, you want to be like this YouTube small engine guy. Yeah, well, I'm going to be big. I know how to use cameras and stuff. And I'm like, oh, really? You really want to be the small engine guy? Yeah, well, I'm going to be the best small engine guy out there on YouTube. Everybody's going to watch me. Okay, then. Well, to get started, you're going to have to do like 600 carburetors. What? What do you mean 600 carburetors? Yeah, you're going to have to clean a lot of carburetors and put out a lot of carburetor videos. And you're thinking, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't know what's worse, right? If you're like a small engine guy on YouTube, that's like the shittiest job because they all need carburetor cleaning on some level. But if you start off doing it and you do a bunch of how-tos, you got to pay your dues. And one of the ways of doing that is carburetor videos. So I'm going to do a bunch of carburetors and finish them off and get them out of here and then time out on the car videos, which is why I want to go down a slightly different road and start doing some other stuff, including some more projects and stuff like batteries and, whatever, just anything. And I'm not too worried about if it shits the channel up. I just released a video with the van, working on the van. That's another one. Those are actually people that work on these Astro vans and stuff and these GMCs. It's getting big because nobody can afford cars anymore, right? And so they're looking for some old stuff that they can put stuff in. Let's see. Ken says he's going to bed. Says good night. Speaking of tractor, yeah, time lapse. How many carbs can you do in a week? Yeah, right. Oh my God. Ever start Walmart? Never start. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And Brett says, I'm glad just to do equipment reviews and demos. Yeah, because that's better than carburetors. I mean, you do this stuff for your job, right? But there is a certain amount of dues need to be paid, and the HIPAA stuff is good. And I get to do it, so one of the ways I limited it was, and I've talked about this before, is I like to do the 10-year-old, 15, and even 20-year-old machines. I mean, that's a lot of my channel is the older equipment. So I got some really cool machines out here now, and I just wanted to show you guys a few of those before we keep moving forward. So batteries, things like that. So the last thing I wanted to show you guys, too, with regard to the craziness in the world, and this is probably the last thing, because I don't want to get too into the conspiracies, but I thought this was funny, right? I thought this was funny. Well, it's not really conspiracy anymore because well, now it's out, right? So UN temporarily closes the Geneva headquarters due to lack of funds. Yeah, because the UN agenda for the 21st century, or now Agenda 2030, right, basically has forced all of the European countries, and they're doing it here, to close down their coal-fired plants, including their nuclear power plants. And, of course, they blew up a gas line, right? So now they don't even have, the UN can't even get its hands on enough fucking energy to keep the lights on, right? This is just ridiculous. But I thought that was pretty funny. Just unbelievable. This is on the 5th. United Nations European headquarters in Geneva, known as the Palace of Nations, will remain closed until the 12th due to liquidity crisis within the organization. The decision has been taken to economize heating, electricity, and maintenance costs. Yeah, well, I mean, what the hell do you think? You cut back on everything, and then you cut back on the availability of power. Power's not as available. The price goes up, and now suddenly even they can't afford it and can't get their hands on it. Clown World. Coming back from Clown World. Let me close that out. I'll just show you guys a couple of pics. So again, links in the description. I think it's a cool battery, and I'll let you guys know how that works out. So check this machine out. Let me see if I can find it here. Now that I'm in 2024, I got to reorganize my video stuff. So I got all this video stuff going on. Let's see. Cruise through some of this stuff. Yeah, my buddy Mike was here the other day, which is pretty cool. Oh, he gave me a nice hat. I got this, and I got the penis hat with the cap. That's the light. Hold on. Put a little light on it. Pretty cool. Scrub Hub. I think that's his son's company. Nice hat, by the way. It's built well. It's got like the dark camouflage look to it. Pretty cool. Thanks, Mike. Let's see if I can find this stuff. Yeah, here we go. So they're already up on the table. Let me play these. Let me see if I can figure out, too, why the sound is not playing. Hold on. Let's see. It should play. Desktop audio, I know. Let me go to properties. Nope. Hold on. It's probably picking up a different audio input. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's cold out, fellas. Yeah, we got another storm coming. Oh, the customer just dropped off these two. These are nice. A yard machine, 5 forward, 2 reverse. These are like the 8 horsepower Snow Kings, the Gummy motors. This one's Murray, 8 horsepower, 27 inch. Pretty decent machine. All right, pick these up a couple $100 each. Coffee truck. Yeah, that's it. Gotta go in and eat. Yeah, this one's nice. You know, you got the chute control and everything. It's all stuck. Doesn't want to move. But we'll figure that out. Hopefully we can get that cable going again. But yeah, there's the Comfy 8 horsepower jammies. Well, it's not bad. So they don't run. So if it's nicer out tomorrow, I'm going to give them a rinse, and we'll bring this one in first. Do you see it? And then Brad, we'll leave this one sit for now. But he has others, so these are his backups. Let's check out the next thing. Oh, there he is. He's watching me. He's watching me. All right, so this one issues with the engine, of course. Yep, personal pace, Time Master. Yeah, guaranteed to start. Yeah, until it doesn't start anymore. Well, I guess it's been taken on water and everything, but we're going to put another motor on this. First thing, when the season starts up, we'll take it apart. We'll get the motor off. And I have another one of these with the bad deck, but this is his, and we're going to just make sure. I just want to pull the motor off and just make sure what size everything is. And I think maybe we'll put a Cowie motor on it or something, because this is going to be his daily driver for his business. He likes this one. That's why he likes using it, because it fits in between the gates. All right, let me get out of here. It's freezing. Thanks, fellas. Here I am talking to myself. Because I mute the mic from time to time, so I don't step all over everything. What the hell was I saying? I was saying that the problem is you can have a good relationship with companies like HIPAA because HIPAA has the people here in the United States that speak our language here. I don't know about how it is in other countries, but the people that I speak to, I don't know if they're from the United States, if they're American or whatever, but they're here and they speak the language. And then they can, when I've had problems, they've been able to push it up the line, you know, whatever the chain of command is, and the stuff gets fixed. And there's been other companies that I've worked for, and that doesn't happen. And what I was mentioning is that like Mike, young Mike, right, Mikey, he created a little company, and he started hawking the lint-free towels, and I think he bought like 10,000 of them. And that's what goes on on Amazon. There's probably a handful of manufacturers of those, you know, microfiber towels. Probably a handful of manufacturers for some of these small parts for these small engines. Probably a few. And then somebody like Mikey comes along. Now, he's in the United States, so he speaks the language, but I don't know what his relationship is to the manufacturer. It may be good, it may be bad, it may be nothing. And in some cases, when you go click on something on Amazon, like, oh, look, there's a carburetor. It looks like mine. It's cheap. You could just be getting somebody in Taiwan or China or somewhere, and they just created an account with Amazon and made up a business. It might be registered and all, but they don't have any real contacts with the manufacturer. You just don't know. So with HIPAA, that's not the case. And at least as far as I can tell, I have somebody to talk to, and stuff gets done when I find a problem. Let's see. Whoop, there it is. So Edward says he's thinking about buying an Ego snowblower. Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of property, so it's not like you're going to be using these kinds of machines and stressing the hell out of them. And so some of these battery-operated ones or whatever, they'll work pretty good. The problem with a snowblower, though, is this. Batteries don't work well in the cold. End of story. And so, you know, you might get it home, and your lawnmower is a different case scenario because you're going to be using it in warm weather. But that day that you got to go out there and get rid of all that snow and it's really cold, good luck. Let me know how you make out. I mean, I wouldn't go down that road. No, not until people start showing me that these things are worthy. Yeah, they finally got to him. This must be the powers that be silencing Arch, Robert says. Oh, no, it's just me. I'm an idiot, right? That's the power. The power that be is me, the idiot, right? Because I like to mute the mic occasionally so I don't step all over everything. Plus, I like to feed my face, and you don't want to hear all that chomping. No, you don't want that. Can't hear you. Yeah, your lips move, but I cannot hear what you say. Pink Floyd. Yeah, that's a great song. No issues with sound here. I like it when Arch doesn't have his mic on. The show's so much better. If it contacted me via a comment on a video asking if I wanted to try their products. Yes, Brett, you should. They're really good this way, right? That's why the next couple of weeks you're going to see a bunch of HIPAA videos. Because they're a good company and the prices are good. And you just saw these machines. Now, I don't know. One of them does not need a carburetor. The other one might. The one I just did, which I haven't released the videos on, that's from the Town Guy. It's a Craftsman 28-inch with 8 or 9 horsepower Takumi. Needed a carburetor. I had one in stock from HIPAA. So that one's coming out soon. It's going to be 2 videos on that. You know, I want to keep these engines running in these machines. These are really good machines. Ken, Small Engines, just did emergency repair, and all he had to do was clean it. So the factory carb, we always want to try to keep those going. But he was lucky. He was able to get that factory carb cleaned out without much fuss right before a snowstorm and did as minimal as he could to it. I'm glad towards the end he felt bad. That was good because he came back. He was going to, end the video, fellas. I don't know if you saw that one. He's like, let me get into that idle jet. And that's good. I'm glad he went back in there because it needed it. It needed a little psh, little poke. And because the Tacumis don't, not that it does affect the overall running of the engine. The those Tacumis don't idle well. And honestly, because he had mentioned, and I want to give him a shout out because I had said to him, I always forget to do this. I actually talk about it in my video that these engines don't try to get an idle out of them. Idle is something like 2,000 RPMs. And what he mentioned is, and I'll just repeat that here, is that it's a slap oiling system. You don't want to be cranking this thing down to a couple of hundred RPMs. You're going to lose oiling, especially when it's cold out and stuff. But generally speaking, though, I think it's because the carburetor is so low, and then it has to come up that intake tube, right, the manifold. And I think it just gets very soggy performance at anything lower than about 1,900 RPMs. So right around 2 is about where you want to be. I already use HIPAA stuff on occasion. Yeah, good. Hey, Bleach! It says, tell Ed Arch about your new... tell Arch about your new... Oh, you got a new house or something? You're in a new place? Bleach is here. Already use HIPAA stuff on occasion. Yeah, do a video. Robert says, get a sponsor to give you a 3D printer. That's a great idea. Oh, my God. Edward says, got extra batteries. Yeah, but the batteries, it's one thing, it's the extra, but the battery power will be low. And so the performance of the machine will be down. So if you get a lot of snow, it's not that the battery will discharge and go empty. It's that the power of the battery will be low. So it may be that you go into the snow and it's not really going to lift it. I would say keep the battery in the house, which I hate doing, but keep the battery warm and then pop it in and keep that extra battery warm, in a spot where it's warm, relatively speaking. I mean, that would be a workaround. But as it gets cold, though, for being outside, you're going to lose performance. That's just the thing. Let's see. But, we'll find out because people will buy these things, and we're going to find out what's going on, and we'll also find out if there's workarounds. There could be ways of, inventive ways of electrically boosting power. There's ways of doing that. Yeah, it's really windy here, too, Bleach. Bleach says it's really windy. I left the garage open so it's easy to organize the next day. Why? Because the wind just shoves everything out onto your neighbor's lawn? Brett says, Ken did a good Harley idle impression. Yeah, he did that, the potato, lump. Yeah. By the way, Bleach has been busy doing stuff. Let's take a look, fellas. I gotta go take a leak, right? Let me put the leak lady on, and I'll go take a leak. You guys, Brett, go grab a chaw, where we'll meet back here, and I want to show Brett's been busy. I just want to, quick kind of go through a couple of videos of Brett, because he's been busy, and he cleaned up his mower. What do you think of that mower, Brett? Right? Isn't that nice? Right? It needs a motor. He wants to put like a cowie on it. You saw a leaf contractor, like a lawn contractor, rather, stuff like that. And he was thinking about putting a better motor on it, which I like the idea of that because the machine's in great shape, and he likes the machine. He says, I think it's gonna, with a better motor, I think it would become one of my favorite machines because it goes in and out of the gates around here. Where I live is like similar to where you live, Brett. Where a lot of us are. And he says it's light enough for him. He picks it up. He picked it up. He puts it in the trunk of a car. He's got a big truck, but he says he gives it to the fellas, and then he goes off with some Malibu or something. Whatever. He wants to pay for it. Let's bring up the piss lady. Yeah, hold on. Brett says, nice time, master. The commercial version of it has the cow. Yeah, that's what he was thinking. We'll make it the commercial pseudo variant, right? Robert says, freezing temperatures here. Wow, in Mesa, Arizona, next week or spring will start. Yeah. How about the rain? We got a lot of rain here, Robbie. Tons of rain, bro. Deluge. Bleach says, that leaky ladybird is funny. Let's put the leaky ladybird on. Robert missed the guy, the chick that licks her poo. All right, Bleach, you missed that. All right, Bleach. All right, hold on. Let's gross out Bleach. Bleach, did you see the lady that licks her poo? We'll have to show you. Let me just show Bleach this real quick. And Rob. So that they feel, grossed out appropriately. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is going to be good.
I I know everyone has their panties in a bunch right now about how I've licked my own excrement before, but I will say I do not do that anymore. I have learned, and if I do it, I make sure it's clean, usually.
What the?
Nice! Isn't that horrible? Pee break coming up. Oh, I had to go so bad. Oh my God. I feel better now. That was so wrong. That's the, so what do you guys think of the potty mouth lady? She's got a real potty mouth. So what do you think? What do you think, Bleach, of the potty lady? The potty mouth lady? Let me see, I gotta put my glasses on. I gotta go find Brett's channel now. Sounds like a Keurig. I know you always say that. That leak lady bird is funny. Got rain here too. Bleach says, scrap the second load. Wow. I saw that other load. Missed most of last week on the cruise. Robbie's been out on a cruising. He's been cruising lately. Enjoying life. The shit eater woman. Talk about potty mouth. Yes, literally, yeah. Yeah, Lasix, yep. Mela says she's spraying it. Bleach says, I took my poop, my what? To see how massive it is, but licking that girl is weird. Yeah, that is weird. It does sound like a Keurig lady. Bleach PC is brewing. Yeah, I just love that. All right, let's go find Brett's channel. Let me just organize myself here. And it's good too because I saw something in your one video that actually I can use to tie into. Let me close that out. Tie into. So I want to talk a bit about, before we get out of here. We're almost at 2 hours, so it's good. So we got plenty of time left. I just wanted to kind of chat a little bit about some of the stuff I'm doing, the gear, the ideas that I have, tips and tricks, and just a little bit about the gear and stuff that I have, and some thoughts on this year, this coming year, and what some of the things I'd like to get. One of the fellas asked me, if you were to buy something, camera gear, what would it be? And I think I found it. I forget which one of you guys asked me that a couple of weeks back, and that was a tough question. And I've been thinking about it. I'm like, well, like everything is important. But if there's one piece of gear, like what would it be? Is it something you really need, or is it something you really want? Right? And that's one way to look at it. Let's see, Brett. We got to go find Brett. Let's go find Brett. He's here somewhere. Oh, man, finally the heat just shut off. Yeah, here's this one here. Okay. Let me set it up. Where is it? I'm going to put Brett's channel in. Hold on. Do I have your channel in the description? Let me edit the description. Oh, I just threw up a little bit. Yeah, let me edit the description up. Let's see, just check to see what's in there. I'm trying to keep a bunch of different people down in here as I build all of this stuff. Check out these fellows. YouTube. Yeah, let's put this in here. Stand by, fellas. Yeah, now it's in. Now it's in the description. Link in the description. Now this is the 2012 time. I don't know what year that Time Master is, but we'll scroll through this one. Let's get the desktop audio going. Let's see. Got to see Charlie Arch. Where's Charlie? What is that? A new video, Brett? I believe says still have to watch your van video. Arch. Yeah, check that one out. I'm making a folder on the van. I got a lot of a video that I already shot. Can't tell if my phone is ringing or there's an ice cream truck outside, or it's in your head. Don't tell Biden that. He'll go running. He loves this ice cream. The channel on YouTube is Vape on the Hairy Armpits. What? Is Vope on the Hairy Armpits? Oh, I don't know. All right, here we go. There it is.
Good afternoon, YouTube. Shop Talk with Brett coming in with another video. This will be the second video, 2024. You hear anything in the background? Yes, we are getting rain right now. The sad part about it is that's going to be getting colder, and that's probably going to turn to snow. But
let's hope not.
Looking at my latest project here, I got a hold of this right around, it was before Christmas. I had talked about this Time Master in, I was talking about it in Ken Small Engine, his live stream a couple times, and in Arch's Garage live stream. Check out both of those channels.
No, don't check out my channel. Oh, let's move forward a little bit. Here he comes. Thank you, Brett.
Saturday nights.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at here is this Toro Time Master.
Oh, she's sweet.
First gen Toro Time Master. I believe a 2012 model. I'm going to zoom in on the model number on the deck here.
Now watch this. All right. Now he does a really good job of holding it steady. All right, see how steady he holds it? He manages to get, which is really hard to do when you zoom in. But leaning over is always a better idea because these cameras, and I'm going to talk a bit about that a little bit later, these cell phones and a lot of these other cameras, their digital zoom sucks. And it's just crappy, and you can see the difference. Like, it's pretty good for a digital zoom, I got to say. And it's amazing that he can hold it this steady. But it's not like optical zoom, and you can see all the noise and everything. You go from a very clear picture, and you can see a lot of noise in it.
Steady with that
see
camera.
It? Fuzzy and noise. And I'll talk a bit about why that is.
Model number 20199. This one is the...
But look at how far away it is. So that's
190cc
quite a phone camera.
Engine. Let's see here.
He does it again. See how it gets?
190 cc, 8.75 gross foot-pounds torque. Gross torque, they call it, overhead valve. Toro, easy. And it's not, doesn't say easy. Toro, guaranteed to start. Okay.
Dual force, twin blade system. Where do you hear this thing run?
30-inch cutting path. And yeah, it is a little wet because I had it outside here a little bit ago and I had it running. Today I put a new return spring on it. I had to retime the deck. I checked all the belts. The belts are pretty good. Transmission belt's a little bit worn, which is no big deal. I can order one of them from Toro and put it on there. I did have to retime it. The blades weren't striking, but somebody apparently hit something at one point and knocked this one blade here a couple teeth out of time.
You got this for free, right, Brett?
But we put brand new blades on it, new blade adapters. It got a carb clean, it got an oil change, it got a spark plug. The bag on it has never been used. Air filter's like brand new on it. The people that had it before me, they ended up getting a zero-turn rider.
No, hold on, wait. Yeah, we're gonna bleach. Don't leave yet, because we're gonna take a look at his shop. He's gonna talk a bit about the lights that he has in there. Now he has some issues with his eyes, but I totally recommend lights like this. You see how clear this is? In the next video, he does the shop tour, so we're gonna watch that. But you just look at this effing image. Okay, I mean, you can't get any better than this without spending an effing fortune. And that's part of why I want to talk about, a little bit about cameras and tips tonight. This camera that's in this phone, but a lot of it, I've said this many times, lighting. Even the cheaper cameras can get images close to this with the kind of light. And he'll show in the next video a little bit about what's up there. He can't really show it too much because you just get blind by it. Literally, it's that bright. He's got a lot.
Let's put this thing off to the side. They didn't use it anymore. They were just going to throw it out to the junk man, and I inquired about it, and I ended up getting it. So I figured to make a nice little project. Anyway, it's a pretty nice looking machine. It's clean. It was stored in a heated building. Had to do some little things to it, I said, check those.
And I'll probably talk a bit about this, Robbie, about when I get into a little bit more about the cameras, but it's you and a lot of the other fellas that were involved. You guys were very involved with cameras and everything. And I just would listen and,
belts and everything, do some little minor carb work on it. Had to replace the return spring for the personal pace because it was
yeah, it's so common.
Broken. The one end broke. That was a common thing on these personal pace.
Yep.
The bag's never been used. I've got the mulch plug.
The only thing,
I don't have the side discharge.
You see that right there? I don't know if you can see it. See that little blue lock? The blue lock with the latch? Yeah. If I were to keep it, that'd be the first thing I'd get rid of. I hate that stupid safety latch.
For it, but that's no big deal because I don't side discharge. I'm debating on whether to keep this or sell it. I've always wanted a Time Master. I may keep that.
Keep it. You're not going to come across another one for that price.
Because my everyday go-to mower is my Honda.
Oh, look at the lawn boy.
But anyway, I'm going to take this out and crank this up for you. This will be a cold start because it is cold outside. And we'll kick it on. I might need to adjust the...
Hey, hold on. We got to back up.
Go-to mower is my Honda over there.
Okay, all right. Okay. See? You see what you did? You see what you did? You went, oh, look, there's this hot chick over there. Oh, can't look at her. All right. My hottie new girlfriend is right over there. She's really hot. Can't look at her. Oh, look, there's a half-naked chick over there. Can't look at her. Can't look at her. Nope. Can't look at her, fellas. We're not allowed, right? Not allowed to see. You're going to have to go back and watch one of the videos. See, the mistake he made was he turned the camera. If he just mentioned it, I'd probably be like, yeah, whatever. Okay, Brett, that's great. But because he took the camera and he did this little pan thing, this little tease, right? Over like that, and he comes back. He goes, oh, yeah. If you hadn't have done that, expect the videos.
But anyway, I'm going to
good cut.
take this out and crank this up for you. This will be a cold start because it is cold outside, and we'll kick it on. I might need to adjust the cable for the blade engagement.
Yeah, we're going to get to that too. So Ed says the Galaxy S23 Ultra, yes. And the 14 Pro Max, yes. They're not cheap, but they're not really expensive either. We'll come back to the video.
But we'll check that out here. But anyway, it's pretty clean. Let's go out and fire it up. Okay, folks, this is a cold
Oh, nice
start.
fade. You see that nice fade? That was like a fade. It was a cross dissolve. Ooh, listen to this thing. Let me shut up.
Got the drive working pretty good on it. Like I said, I think I'm going to probably have to get a new transmission belt for that because that is a little bit glazed. But I did check that spring like Ken suggested, and it seemed pretty good. But anyway, here goes the blades. Brand new blades, timed. Here we go. I think that could use maybe a little bit more tension on that drive belt for the deck. The belt is in good shape, but I just think it needs a little bit more tension. Maybe just a tiny bit. But anyway, it runs good. I'll cut it off here. But yeah,
Now, hold on.
I mean for a mower.
Now, before I finish, so again, I wanted a couple of observations and a question. Now, what I'm observing, first of all, it sounds great. Okay, it effing sounds great. Now, what I'm observing is the audio handling quality of the phone is very good. Now, I don't know if he did anything in edit, and Brett, you can let us know if you did any tweaking with the audio in edit. But notice the way it handles the audio. He's able to speak over the sound of the engine, and the engine sound is obviously being attenuated to some degree dynamically. That's what it sounds like to me. And it recovers when he shuts it off, it recovers back nicely. So Brett says no audiating, all raw, all right? And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about with different cameras and stuff. And I noticed that here, and it's a lot of kudos to that because not most cameras, most machines, we'll call them, they don't handle this well. And this is one of the benefits of some of this new technology. But you don't get technology like this until you start to spend money. And there is a certain minimal, gotta pass go amount that you have to spend to get something like this. And I think this goes right over the heads of most people that don't even realize it, that this is actually happening. With my cameras, like with this microphone is extremely sensitive. So I have the advantage of being able to capture audio from far away, up close. I can do a lot with it. But the software, when I go to edit, the camera cannot handle it very well. It does. You will hear it, but there is a delay. I noticed that there's a considerable delay. There's almost no delay in the attenuation profile within his phone itself, within the, we'll call it the camera section on his phone. There's almost no delay. Sometimes you could hear it. I can hear it on mine. I can tell if I'm too quick coming back into the vocal from a machine sound or something. But also I adjust it too. I mean, I adjust it within my editor in post. And if I buy the software, which is like $300, which I want, the AI can completely do magic on the whole file, which is essentially the AI is what's doing it in his phone. So I can mimic even on cheaper cameras or other equipment, because remember, those mics are tuned. Everything is all tuned. Not every camera or video camera does this kind of stuff, or to the same degree. And it also depends upon what you've plugged into the camera. So there are things that change this and limited it. But you're gonna, in this day and age, right? When I see like Musty and I look at his shop is really well lit. And you take a look at his shop next time. When he's effing walking around with this piece of crap cell phone like this, and then he goes into the cars, right? More recently, you can't see anything. It looks like when Brett zoomed in. And okay, so for an occasional zoom in, Brett got lazy, didn't want to lean over, but it does show the quality of the zoom, because that's actually pretty far distance. The digital zooms don't work well. It's not glass. And I'll get a little bit more into the technology of that maybe a little bit later as to why they don't work very well. But the bottom line is, like, Musty's been doing this a long time, but he's never really been like a camera guy. But I think it's time for an upgrade for him. Absolutely, because this is the kind of quality. Now, Brett's outside, so he's not in the shop. There is some light from the shop coming in, which you'll see in a minute. We'll go back to that. But keep in mind, he transitioned out from this really well-lit shop, which is very similar to Musty's. Very, very light, very white. And color balance has a lot to do with this. Now he's outside, but it's a gray, rainy day. So let's go back. I just want to point this stuff out as part of the camera conversation.
Or that I have really little to nothing in, that's not bad. I think the more I think about it, the more I want to keep that sucker.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have much for the front.
Let me repan him. Got to pan him down a little
Around
bit.
to the back, I do have a pretty big backyard, and this spring, yeah, we are going to pressure wash again out here. What I want to do this spring and summer is I want to take everything out of here, give this floor a good sweeping, and then surface clean this whole garage floor and get it looking nice, and get these back walks too. But we'll take a look at the backyard here.
Yeah, let's go to the back real quick.
Fan I was talking about.
Now let's do a sweep around his yard.
Yeah, we got this.
It's
area
bigger
back
than
here.
it shows.
Let me take the zoom out just a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. Take the zoom all the way out. It's
And
actually
we
bigger than what
go
you see.
all the way around here. We got chain link. We got privacy fence. And we've got grass on this lower side here too. But this whole big area is perfect for the Time Master. But anyway, I'm going to get back inside. I'm getting cold. I'm getting wet.
You could see the
and
image
I'm also getting
stabilization.
hungry, and so is Charlie the shop cat. This is his day that he's got to have his medicine.
Charlie! We're back in the shop.
But yeah, this is what we've got. And like I said, the more I think about it, I think I'm going to keep that Time Master.
Yeah.
Because what if something happens to my Honda, seeing as you can't buy a new Honda anymore?
Yup.
So yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to keep that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
That was good. We'll come back in a minute. So, yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I had sold my original Honda HRX 217 that I purchased. And I bought it mostly for my daughter because when I broke my back, I was a mess. And it was, the handles were easy to adjust. You just twist these little things. You can put them down, you lift them up, you can adjust the height. all of the features, the controls over the ground control, you know, that speed and all that was easy to do. Electric start, all of that. And she started cutting the lawn for, I don't know, a couple of years when I got really bad. And I think I was talking about this, one of the fellows that was watching my videos on it and said, why don't you just pull start it? Well, you know, if you have a bad back, you can't torque. Like, you cannot, if you do this, that might be the last thing. You're not going to be walking that lawnmower around. You're going to be laying in bed. And that's the kind of shit that would happen to me. So I started to go to electric, and then before electric lawnmowers and before all the crap that's going on in the world right now, and before the shutdown of Honda lawnmowers, before all of that, and I sold the original one. The original one that I had, I didn't take care of it as well because I couldn't. So it was blowing a little bit of smoke every now and then. It's probably one of the seals or something up top. I think only the intake valve has a seal, so it could have been either. Maybe there was some valve issues. Sometimes it wouldn't do it. Anyway, I got a really good price for it. When I started doing all this work and making some money, I was like, okay, I can't keep everything. So I actually kept the better one. The one that I have is the better one. It saw less use. I got it in as a trade. Can you imagine? But not knowing all this stuff was going to happen, who could know? Now you know. So what he's saying is, yeah, something happens to his HRX. There are others out there, but I think a lot of us now that have the HRX 217s, we're not going to be trading these things in, right? Where unless it's somebody that says, I don't really have a big lawn, I want an electric mower, you know, I'm willing to sell it and it'll help pay for the electrics because they're expensive. And I think the 217s at this point in time, they should garner a pretty good price used. I mean, what do you guys think? How much would you be willing to pay for an HRX in really good shape? You know, what would you pay for that? I mean, it's got to be, you know, a few $100s, more than $2, I would think. $3? I don't know. I mean, what would you pay? I mean, I think these things are going to come up. So let's see. Yeah, this is, Brett says, I did spend an effing fortune. I teased Arch with that Honda. Lee says, I have a Honda push mower setting outside push mower has holes in the deck. Yeah. Yeah, but the parts are good. Lee says, I had a 5.5 Honda engine on a snapper rear engine once, and that ran a bit, had a choke problem. Yeah, the snapper bodies are nice. No audio editing, all raw. Show my second scrap video if you like to. Yeah, definitely. I think the first one was really neat. The mics compensate quite well for recording, level adjusting. Yeah, they do a really good job. But like I'm saying, is it requires, in today's technology, it requires money now at this point. It's you're getting to the point where not every camera, you know, there is no such thing as a perfect camera. It's just not going to happen. Whether it's on a phone or it's on a camera itself, they're not going to allow that. They don't. They have these different product lines, and they put a good amount of stuff into it. Let's say a Sony ZV-E1 or a ZV-1 or whatever, or a Canon, but it won't have everything you really need. And that's kind of why I'm looking for yet another camera. And I'll show you guys, if we have enough time, I'll get back to that. Let's go to his other video real quick. I don't know where the Charlie video is. Here's the, is this one? Charlie? Yeah, let's just take a quick hi, Charlie. There's no audio, so we'll just do a quick hi. Look at him. Duh. He doesn't know. He's just chilling. Well, where do I go now? Now what do I do? Do I get any treats? How come I'm only allowed to sit here? All right. I guess I'll get comfortable. You got anything to give me, like food? Want to pet me again? You pick me up? All right. Isn't he cute? That's cute. Well, you could keep petting me. He's like, he feels abandoned now. Catch up. Let's see. Brett says, seeing as they run $1,100 new, I'd pay a good $500 easily if it's in good shape, right? I mean, they'll be around, I don't know, maybe another year or so. Robert says, RM says, I had a Honda mower that was made with the Xeon plastic mower pan. Yeah, mine's the next site. But it says $1,200 for electric start model. New Time Master is over $1,500. Yeah. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, it's cute. Yeah, got a treat after a shot. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Let me queue up. We're gonna go down. Now we're gonna take a look at, before we get to some tech talk. Let's queue up the shop talk. Right. Hold on. Coming up. Stand by.
Good afternoon, YouTube. Coming back, Shop Talk with Brett here.
Pad his audio
Thought
up a
I would
little bit.
do a little something different today. I apologize for the mess, because I'm out here. I didn't have to go into work today, so I figured I'd come out and tinker with the Time Master. And I'm kind of looking around to see what kind of stuff to keep and what stuff to get rid of, so that's why everything's kind of askew here. But I'm in the process of doing some cleaning up out here. But I thought I'd give you folks a little bit of a shop tour. I'm surprised this isn't as... I'm sorry that this isn't as, you know, prim and proper and pristine as a lot of you guys' shops, but this is what I got and it works for me. Let's start over here. We've got some shelving here and storage. Like I said, some of this I'm going through. A lot of that is floor buffer pads, because I do floor buffing on the side, but there's our power panel right there. And we've got LED garage lights here. Each one of those puts out 12,000 lumens. So this garage is lit up like a gymnasium.
Look at that.
But remember, LED right there. Lights here. Each.
So, that's a lot of light. You can see how bright it is in there, and these are fairly simple lights too. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're running them like that. Yeah, one's out, but that's a lot of light.
Each one of those puts out 12,000 lumens. So this garage is lit up like a gymnasium. But remember, with my partial sight, I need as much sight as I can get. I got some storage along here. Some of that stuff is actually not necessarily shop related, but yard related. Shovels and things like that. Little air conditioner I'm hanging on to just in case one of the ones in the house goes out. Here's my air compressor. On the wall there we have my Steel FS85 weed eater, which I've had that 22 years now. Well, it'll be 22 years in May. That thing's been a good trimmer. I've put that thing through a lot, and it's never let me down, except for about 15 years into having it. The coil went out, but that's no big deal. That's no big deal. I changed that out, and $40 later, I had it going again with an OEM steel coil. There's my BR400 backpack blower, which you saw in an earlier video when I first started the channel. We come over here. This is where I keep my shovels and my spreader. There's a 1968 Lawn Boy, which I'm going to do a video on. A couple things here I want to get rid of. That furnace blower, I don't have a motor for it, but it's here. There's another fan. I used to take that fan when I do floors. I used to use that to dry the floors after I'd stripped them so I can put the wax down. We come back here underneath that blue tarp. That's my cousin's Craftsman snowblower that you saw in the previous videos. that was featured in the Craftsman Then and Now snowblower video. Another little floor scrubber. See, my floor tools I keep over here. This is where I keep all my floor equipment when I do the floor buffing. It's out of the way. There's a steel HS45 trimmer hanging there, hedge trimmer hanging on the wall. Now we'll get back in here. There's my high-speed floor burnisher, and that's for just buffing. And you see I got a spray buff tank on it. Over here is a couple slow speed machines. I use those to scrub. Well, that one there, this and the motor needs, I think it needs a capacitor, because you kick it on, it just hums and the breaker trips, because I think the capacitor went in it, but eventually I'll get it going. That machine there is probably 75 years old, and I redid it many years ago. There's my Honda.
Can you imagine? There's a Honda.
HRX 217 mower. That's where it stays during the winter.
Oh,
There's
she's
a
sweet.
1970
Oh, that's
Lawn Boy.
nice.
That was the one you saw in the videos, the early videos. We've got shop lighting up here. Another buff pad. Like I said, we're in the floor corner right now. We've got a nice stereo in here, complete with an Alexa, so that I can stream my audio, my music. Lately, I've been listening to K-Love because I'm on a kick here where I've been liking the adult, or not adult, I wouldn't call it adult. I'm listening to the contemporary Christian music, kind of like we would listen to at church. I love songs that glorify our Lord. And I love the music on K-Love. Right here we've got my little, well, I just knocked things out of focus. Right here we've got my little Oregon 520-120 chain grinder. And like I said, that's just some more extra bulbs. Those are the compact fluorescents that used to be up here that I took out when I put the new LED ones in. This column did not come with that chain grinder. I had that made. That way I can stand up to use this. Got a light on it. This is my carburetor bench, but like I said, right now I've got things on it because I'm cleaning things up, trying to get rid of stuff. There's my bucket that I like to soak the chains in before I sharpen them. I put hot water and degreaser in there. But yeah, normally this is all cleaned off. Like I said, I'm going through some junk right now. We come over here. There's my little bench grinder. It's a Delta 8-inch. And I've got a hand grinder under there in a case. I got a Makita hand grinder. We come over here to this corner. I got a few little tools hanging here. This is my corner where I store miscellaneous chainsaw bars, chains, customer chains. This is where I hang them up when they're done to be picked up. And also the chains to be sharpened are hung here.
I see you got the Lyle. That's the one that I want, that spark tester. I was showing that one off on one of the live shows, I think it was, or something, or one of the videos I was talking about that. I recommended that one. That's a nice one.
As well. Tool cabinet right here. I got some goodies in there. All my screwdrivers and tools. The bottom box has my specialty tools, my pneumatic tools. We come over here. There's my vacuum for out here. I also use that when I do the floors to pick up the floor stripper. And we've got my workbench here, which again, I apologize because it's got clutter on it right now. Like I said, I'm moving things around and I had to get stuff, put it somewhere while I figure out what I'm going to do with it. But normally this is cleaned off. This is where I actually put the mowers up on to work on. Eventually I'm going to have one of those pender lifts, as everybody calls it, the table lift like Bruce's shop has that would really come in handy, especially when working on generators, because it'll save your back. So we got that, and we come over here. I've got a little chipper shredder over there, 8-horse Briggs Craftsman. Some more storage over here on this.
Yep, I just brought one of those in from outside. I got to work on. Of course, yours is in beautiful shape, and the one I have is going to be for sale. But yep, I have that machine, and we got to make it run. I gave it a good cleaning for the most part. It was a mess, so hopefully I can get it running and get it sold.
It's part of the bench. Under here, I've got hand dryers, because I collect hand dryers. This, and I think, is eventually going to be installed out here, because that back corner there where the floor stuff is, there's actually a water hookup, and there's a toilet flange. So I'm thinking of closing that in, making a little stall, if you will, and having a toilet and a sink. And
oh yeah, slop sink too. But like what I have, put a slop sink in.
Past the chipper, and we have a little 25 or 3200 or 3250 starting watts, 2500 running little generator, little All Pro. I picked that up used for $100. It had never been used. It had been started, never used, and it still had old fuel in it. So light carburetor clean and good fuel, she fires right up. Back in there, there's an old, I'm not sure what year that is. That's an old Huffman Park Lane 20.
That's cool.
Push mower. Has a little...
It's very similar to one of the ones that I've been using as these little bumpers. And the one that I have is a Briggs with a crank style starter on it. Where you crank it by hand and you push the button. But you'll probably see more of that in my little bumpers real soon. That thing's neat.
Power Products engine on it, which I think later was acquired by Tecumseh. That's a 2-stroker. Rope start. You don't have a recoil. There's the rope for it's on the handle there. Back in there, I have a Mojack that I bought off somebody for $10.
You should do demo on those two. Those two machines, definitely. That would be fun to pull them out and do a demo on that.
That somebody brings a tractor over here and I need to sharpen the blades, I can jack the front end of it up. Right there, we've got an 8-horsepower giant vac. It was a parking lot sweeper is what that originally was. It starts and it runs. I haven't started it and ran it for over 20 years, but the last time I did run it, I did completely drain the fuel system. But when I went to use it several years ago, I went to touch the bag, and the bag just literally disintegrated. So I'm looking to get a bag. I'm looking for a bag for that. I priced out a bag for that, and it's about $300. $300 for a brand new bag for that, and that's an old machine. That's like a... I want to say, going by the model type and code on the engine, it's an 86.
Yeah, I got a couple of those outside I want to go over.
86. We've got this, you saw
That's
this
nice.
in the previous video. That's my leaf vac. And over here, you've seen this, and I got a feeling we're going to need this year. There's the old Craftsman snowblower. You've seen
Oh, she's a beauty.
Craftsman snowblower then and now video. That's the old Murray. We've got ladders in here in case I got to go up in the rafters or whatever.
All right, hold on. I want to catch up. Let's see. Let's see me come back up. Bleach. Isn't a beautiful cat. He's got a treat after that. Run the shop fit in full. Did you see the video of my tires on the snowmobile? Yeah, we'll get to you, Bleach. We'll do your some shop and stuff on the next one because we're at 2 hours and 30 minutes. I still have some stuff I want to do before we get out of here. He says, I seen that video yesterday, Brett. Robert says they look like hyper lights. Brett says, got static guard. He says, I bought an LED SRE. What's that? What kind of LED is that? I got a LED light bar screw-in light for Christmas for the garage for my mom. Nice. Those are nice. And Rob W. says LED lights are available as stringables in single or dual row, 2 or 4 foot. Also very effective. Yeah, that's a nice thing to add. Absolutely. I mean, light is important, but, you know, we're humans, so we can see a lot anyway. But if you want to do a YouTube channel, and all cameras are just going to do so much better, even the best cameras. I watch a lot of shows on camera tests, and these camera nerd geeks, you know, they talk about low light. Like I'm in very low light right now, right? And so most of the cell phones and stuff, they can't handle that. Their sensors are tiny. They can't handle operating in this kind of low light. And I've seen some videos of people testing some of these really, you know, much higher end full frame cameras. And a full frame camera is going to have a bigger sensor, and so it's going to handle low light. And you could see to some degree, but weird artifacts start occurring, and you might be in a garage or someplace even outside. Outside is weird because there's a lot of shadows, and things like cell phones or smaller sensors on action cameras, or even at some of these APCs style cameras. The problem with that is it's the way the algorithm is tuned in general, and then the smaller sensor size and the fact that there's no real glass, you lose the dynamic range. And dynamic range is the ability for one of these cameras to be able to manage the darkest piece of the shot, area of the shot, and the brightest area of the shot. And so to work around that, the answer to that is don't worry about it. Make it well lit. You know, don't let the camera fail because it can't handle these darker areas or darker corners or shadows even outside. Put a light on it, even outside, or face everything so that the sun is on it, but never put the camera in a position to where it has something very bright and something very dark in the same shot. I see that a lot with YouTubers where they're standing like this and they've got the sun back here, and or light over their head in their garage, and the cameras can't handle that. And when we look at it, it's distracting. So not only can we not properly see what the person is talking about, we can't really see the person, and the camera can't handle it. So really good cameras can handle that. But this shop is so well lit. There's light everywhere. There's very few shadows. And so the camera doesn't have to work as hard trying to figure it out, because these new cameras, one of the things that they do is they do interpolation, which is a weird thing, but it's basically what starts to happen is so that, let's say this is the camera lens. Of course, that's ridiculously oversized. And let's say this is the sensor. Actually, we'll say this is the sensor, the full size of the sensor. I think it's a better way to describe it. So this is the full size of the sensor. And then what it will do, this is a better way of showing it. What it will do is, for stabilization purposes, one thing it'll do is it'll crop. So this is the full size of the sensor, but it crops down to the image this big. Now the whole image is being displayed to the processor, but you don't see that. And what it does is it crops it down. So it keeps this area in the center what you see, and this extra area around here, you don't see it. So when you go to move the camera, let's say you move the camera to the right, when it goes to the right, see what happens? It does this, and it hits that extent, and then it catches up. Okay, so when I go to move this way, it hits that extent and it catches up. Keeping this stable and allowing that buffer room, that's what we call a crop or a crop sensor. All this buffer room now is available so that when you go to move the camera, it just does this and then straightens out. So that extra area is never displayed to you. It keeps the center more stable. The problem with that, now that's how it handles its image, its digital image stabilization. It's basically the same as a standard stabilization, where there's a carriage that holds the lens, and there's the outer body, and that carriage is like a shock absorber, and it allows a little bit of movement on the body and the outside of the lens, but keeping the inside of the lens rock stable until you move it too quick and you slam into the extents. But the other thing that these cameras do, and why you'll see it's soft and horrible, especially when you zoom in, or if you move too quick, it gets mushy and fuzzy because it interpolates. It says he's about to move to the right. And as he moves to the right, it takes some of the image that was there before and blends it into the center image. And the same thing when you move in any direction, it anticipates and fills some of that image with fake shit, literally. It's real footage, but it says, oh, look, the ground didn't move very much. We'll keep the ground the same, but what we really see moving is the thing that's closest to us. So we'll focus our efforts on trying to keep that in focus, and we're not going to reproduce the ground. And it makes weird stuff, and it's very much like MP3 versus wave. So wave, you know, what wave is like, let's say you're recording something and it's 010101, then 110, 110, 110. And what the MP3 algorithm does is it goes, oh, I see a pattern. You got a whole bunch of these 010101s. Let's break that down. Let's delete some of those extra 010101s of the pattern. We'll put a little marker in, letting the algorithm know to reproduce those, but we're going to get rid of them. And then you start another pattern, it does the same thing. So when you go to listen back, it's deleted a good piece of the file that's just not there. And depending upon the algorithm or the MP3 style, in this case it's video, MP4, it may not restore all of the information that was lost from the raw file. So in audio, it's wave, and in video, it's raw. It's a raw file. And then all these compression algorithms are used. And like with cameras, particularly cell phones, they get really soft and fuzzy and mushy when you move them too much, even if they're stabilized. And you see this with action cameras, especially when there's not enough light. It gets soapy and like you took Vaseline and shoved it over in front of the glass. It gets muddy and yucky and noisy. And it's because it's guessing. It's guessing at where the image should be. It's not a piece of glass with an open lens, a shutter, an f-stop, an aperture control, and a piece of emulsion on a 35 millimeter rack. And that's another reason why you want as much light as possible. And then the sensor has to be gained up or down accordingly. And the other thing it does while you're moving the camera around, because you're in automatic, it's changing the shutter speed. And there's a general rule in video work is if you're, let's say, at 30 frames per second, your shutter speed has to be at least double that. And if you look at what goes on with these automatic settings in cameras is that depending on how the light is, like if it gets a little too bright, it'll start, not only will it stop it down, it'll change the shutter speed. If there's not enough light, the shutter speed will go, let's say you're at 30 frames, you want to set it to 60. That's what you want. You want a minimum of 60 frames locked in at the shutter speed. 160, 1/60. If you don't have enough light and you have the camera in your hand and you go to move it, the camera is going to say, well, it's 11:11. The camera's going to say, well, I'm going to f-stop down. I'm going to drop the f-stop to almost whatever my lowest setting is. It's still not bright enough. Let me ramp up the ISO gain a little bit. Nah, it's too far. You know what? Let me take the shutter and open it up more and leave it open longer. And then you go to move the camera, it's going to be shaky and wobbly regardless of what kind of image stabilization you have. Because an automatic setting, it really doesn't understand what I'm saying. It doesn't know how to do that. It will try to make the image bright. And what you wind up with, like I was saying, with like Musty and others, you wind up with this whitewash. When you look, you'll be looking at a car, for example, and you kind of see the car. It's not really in the light, but in the background is all of this light, and you can't make out anything in the back. It's not bokeh, which is a fuzzy, out of focus background. No, it's just mush. you can't make out any definition. It's not out of focus. It doesn't know to do that. It can't make bokeh or bokeh because it doesn't have the right f-stop. It doesn't have the right lens. It doesn't have the right depth of field. So it's not making what a lot of people look for in terms of bokeh, which is a blurry background for a very different reason. No, it's just washing it out. It's trying to say, I can't see it. Let me brighten everything. And then you go to move the camera. It's a mess. The whole image gets fuzzy and weird because of the interpolation with this effect, right, that I was demonstrating earlier. And that's one of the problems with these cameras. As good as the technology is and as much as you spend, I mean, I watch some of these guys that do these. Well, I know which one fellow, he does some reviews on some very high-end cameras. And then he puts them in weird lighting situations and he does weird things with the camera. And he's not one of these people that does a camera review because he gets the camera for free and talks really good about it. He shows you what the hell's wrong with a $5,000 or $6,000 camera and why it kind of sucks. Don't do this with this camera. It doesn't handle it. So they're all susceptible to this, and this comes back to lighting. Regardless of the camera you have, lighting is absolutely key because of all the flaky technology going on and each camera being a little bit different. One of the ways that I often say is if you really want good shots, avoid screwing up. Like avoid the problems that almost all of these cameras have. And one of the easiest ways to avoid it is with a lot of light. Let's keep going.
I've got a homemade portable street light, as I call it. I built that thing probably
I have one of those.
Mid to late 80s.
I have two of them.
That's got a high pressure sodium head on it, floodlight. And I made an adjustable column and the base and everything. So that's nice if I need mobile light. And if I get hungry, I got a grill, which believe me, in the summer months, it gets used a lot. We've got heat out here, although I'm not really fond of using that kind of heat, but hey, I'll take what I can get because I don't have any
looks good.
or any gas out here. This thing heats the garage up pretty nice, but it is loud. The smell don't bother me, though. It's not really as bad as some of them. Then in the summer months, I've got the big exhaust pedestal fan there. On the
I
back
have that
wall,
fan.
Kind of
Oh, look at all those lights. Look at those lights. Those are nice. I have that fan, but it burned out. It's not the capacitor. I don't know. I got to take it apart. I think it's just dead.
That above the trusses, there's an exhaust fan there. But, yeah, that's kind of it. Like I said, it looks better when I've got it cleaned up. But like I said, I've got stuff stored in here for the winter months, and I'm kind of cleaning things up as I go. So it'll look better once I get it all done, which I'll probably show a shot of that once it is done in the warmer weather. But hope you guys enjoyed it. The next thing here, I'm going to do a video on this here in just a few minutes. I wanted to do the shop tour video, and I wanted to do a separate video on this.
Very nice. Very nice, Brett. You got some nice stuff in there. Nice shop tour. If you guys want to check out Brett's shop tour, the link, if anybody doesn't, whoever watches this in the future, because I know people come back and watch my stuff. When I'm not around, they sneak in and they poke around. So check out Brett's link is in the description. And you can check out all his cool stuff. Congratulations. Brett is the first one of the year to do a shop tour. So, yeah, very cool. And we'll get to a shop tour, I think, well, whatever Bleach has got going on. I saw some cool stuff he's been cleaning up and throwing out junk. And so we'll get to that next week. And we got a little bit of time left, so I'll just go over a couple of things that I just wanted to go over. I wanted to show you, fellas. Now, this camera right here it does pretty good. I think its ISO is 2500. So and its shutter is set to 160, and it's running at 30 frames per second. So the image doesn't look too bad. I don't have a lot of light on right here, very little light. I could gain it up a little. That's about as high as I'd want to go. That's 3,200 on the ISO. It goes over 10,000. And personally, I think that if I gain it up a little too much, it gets a little weird around the edges, a little bit of noise. It's not terrible. Now, this one here, as you can see, this is about 3,000 as well. This is not as good of a camera. It has a very different sensor in it, and it has a different computer and a little processor in it. And I wanted to show you fellas what it looks like. That's in manual. That one is in manual. I just wanted to show you how bad it looks if you leave it in automatic. Now, its automatic settings work really well, better than this camera does in general light. In general, good shop light and outside. Got the shop's pretty well lit, especially in this area over here, where you guys see most of my shots. I got a dark spot towards the back of the shop, and I have the LED bulbs and everything. I just got to put them together and climb up there and install them, right? Install the fixture and make a few changes. So I hope to do that at the very beginning of this year. Let me go change the camera real fast, and because we got a little bit of time left. I got about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes or so, and I just want to show you how horrible some things can get. All right, let's see. Let's see. Look at that. Okay, and you could see it. It's all of this in the dark areas. Remember I was saying, talking about dynamic range. You can see how mushy it is from what it was to what it is now. It's atrocious. There's all of this noise, which you can see. Another thing it's trying to do is it's trying to sharpen me. See how it can't even get a focus. Look, it can't even get a focus out of it because now I have it in automatic mode. So it's lost. It's probably, and even if I wave my hand, you might even see some streaking. It's not actually that bad, but it's absolutely lost. It can't figure it out. And the weird thing is it does a really good job in good lighting, in regular general good light. I use this camera almost exclusively for a lot of the shots, especially the B-roll and everything, and a lot of the footage that you see. Whereas this one does not work well at all in automatic. And I just wanted to show you guys a couple of shots that I took of what it is that we're looking at. Just for an idea. So not everything will work well, and that's one of the problems with cell phones, that when you try to do something different, you are limited by whatever equipment you have. And it also limits to some degree in creativity, and it also depends upon what you want to do with the camera. Like what are you looking to do? You want to vlog, have it facing at you, or just pointing at something? If you're trying to take footage of something that you're working on, you have shiny objects. Now, he's just doing vlog style. We're not looking at him, but we're looking at what he's showing us. That's more of a vlog. But when you turn the camera and point it at something shiny, you have a lot of these cameras have a lot of problems. Depending on what you want to do with the camera. It makes a difference. All right, let me find the ones that I was working with. This is the other day. Let's see. Yeah, here's a couple. Yeah, let's see. Let me see which one's a which. I'm not sure which one's a which. Let's see what we got. So I took this big rig extension off, and I'll show you why. It's nice, so keep it around, but this is the only one they had at the time. Now, this is a handle, which I put on there, and there's a bunch of different things you can do with these handles, because this all bolts on. I added this piece on, which I just stole a screw from. All right, let me put this down on the chair. All right, clean up all my camera stuff, Should I put a little light on? Yeah. Yeah, let's hold on. Well, that's better. All right, got my little light that I put on there. Which one do you say? Well, I put this one on. It's an Amaron, which it's nice. It's you can put you can really do all kinds of stuff with this. And the battery is self-contained, and you can put different things on the front of it magnetically. Hold on. It gets very bright. That's its default. And I can lower the. Yeah, we can lower it. Lower it. Let's see. I don't know if you can see it. So the camera that I'm using right now is the one. It's an automatic. It's the camera. It's a cheaper camera. It's the one I just showed you. That looks so horrible in this lighting on automatic, but yet if you give it some light and leave it in automatic, like, and it doesn't even have like much image stabilization, which you can kind of tell. Plus, I'm not really trying to hold it. I'm sitting down at my desk, but you can see, look at how sharp the image is. And I just add a little bit more light from that little light that I just showed, and the image is very good. Let's keep going. I think it's getting a little bit lower. I don't know. All right, A6400. So I took it out of that big cage because I just want to use it more, and I don't like it being in that big cage. So I put it on a very small cage, because these are tiny cameras. And so that's the bigger 3.5 to 5.6 f-stop. It's an 18 to 135 zoom. Decent lens. It's nice because it's got the stabilization on it. Or it's built into it, and it actually works pretty good. And then there's some digital stabilization on here, which actually works pretty good. And when you put the two together, it actually works pretty good. So this small cage, you can actually push this into here, but I left it out. And so what I put on it, now this comes off. This is just a battery extender. And this runs the different sizes of my Sony batteries. Here's one here. This is one of the bigger ones. These things run forever because these little cameras are notorious for battery issues. Extra power for you, it says. This is the first power. 7.4 volt by 5600 milliamp hour. It's a 41.4 watt hour. And like I said, I have smaller and bigger ones. These are the P whatever, I don't know, this is Sony. I forget what they call these. Lithium ions. Yeah, the NP. It's the NP style. And this is the 750/F770. I'll show you one of the other ones in a bit. So this just slips on here. This is one of the reasons why I like this. I moved all this out so I can mount this little extender here. So that gets me into the mic. And also down here, which you could see I've really got this thing rigged up. So that's an HDMI. That's a full-size HDMI port. And as you can see, I've got, that's actually, hey look, that's actually can control, completely control the camera. That's on display. That's on your menu. And where's the other menu? Why am I not seeing it? I'm not seeing the other settings. Not sure why. Oh, that's weird. Why am I not seeing all of the other? That's another menu. Auto mode. Usually I see. It's because it's in picture mode. I see more of it. Why? I don't know. Unlike the one I'm on right now, I can actually do a lot more stuff with this. One of them being is I can actually hit the button in the front to start recording when I want that. But it's just a better camera overall. And this goes up, right? This is a trapeze. So I probably can't do it right now, but you can see that if you want, it goes all the way forward. So generally I just use the camera as you see it. I don't put this all on the top. I don't do that. I'll show you in a minute why I like that. So if I'm further away, it's nice to be able to, you know, if I'm working in the other building or outside, It's nice to be able to sort of have display back here without moving it to the front. And this is so much bigger. I can really, and I can aim it where I need it, depending on where I am, and reduce glare. And I can start and stop recording from here. Oh, I know why. Is it because I'm in automatic mode? That might be it. Yeah, we'll turn it on manual, because usually I have it in manual. That's why you don't see anything. So, yeah, there you go. I took a snapshot. So I'm in auto mode right now. Yeah, it didn't like that. It connects real quick though. See how fast it connects? Yeah, usually I'm in manual mode. Let me show you. So this I can move in any direction I want, which is really nice, and we can take it off real easy. Let me show you that. Alright, so I put it in manual mode. So that this app comes up real fast. Unlike the Canon M50, which is just absolutely horrible. See, we get 180 at 3.5 and an ISO of 1000. And I can start, recording. See, oh, it's looking at us. Hey, let me shut this off. So even at an ISO of 1000, you'll see in a minute, but we'll fool around with it in a minute. So it's every now and then it'll glitch a little bit, like it'll be a little laggy, but it's actually not bad. But remember, you're not really watching the action through this. All you really want to do is just turn the camera on and off, and give it, have some control over it. Your ISO, your f-stop, your shutter, and whatever else. Let's stop the record on that. The only thing I don't see on here is the audio, but you see the audio back here. Right? But you can also flip up and look to see if you're overmodulating. And it's just a nice clean look. It's a nice histogram. So let's take this off, which comes off real easy. This just slides off. So this slides off, which I don't really want to do with one hand, but yeah, you can just slide it off. And then this you just lift up, or you push down here. I screwed this on the bottom. This is actually the bottom. I don't know why they didn't put the screw hole here, but we could put a screw hole here. That's just 1/4-20. So you could adjust this in any direction you want through this head. This is all nice aluminum stuff. None of this is plasticky. All right, let me show you. Stand by. And so here's one of the reasons why I like this. Is a cage. Basically, it's an extender for the camera. So you get your 1/4-20s here too, and you get a nice flat stand. And then this is the standard V mount or Arca Swiss. Do I have an Arca Swiss laying around? Yeah, I do somewhere. Oh, I'll have to get that. Oh, here's one. Oh, a bunch of. Not everything is out. Might look like it. It's a K&F concept style, but. Bayonet style mount, and what's nice is it goes from here to here. The other one's even bigger, but that allows you to offset the camera on your stand as well, which you'll see in a little bit. I don't even do that normally either, because everything should be made so that you can rig up a camera in any way you want. So HDMI, full-size HDMI here, and the one thing I don't like is I have to pull this out, at least for now. Because if I don't pull it out, you'll see. So you can actually see here. Let's shut off the light so we don't get. See, jack 1, 2. Now what I don't like is if I push it in, for some reason or other, and I tried this dongle style. That's for your external mic. If I push it in, you'll get no mic. So something gets disabled when you plug this in all the way. My issue is that it's just going to make noise. Probably. There's a solution to that. So why am I doing everything this way? So this is USB over here. Why? Because this being my main camera, you will wear out these jacks. Absolutely. The thing that will break is the jacks. Now, from plugging and unplugging, I can't tell you, people, especially you, for some of you know, like the iPhone or whatever, the cables break, but Look, when it starts to wear out inside the camera body, you're done. Now, I already cracked the screen, I think a couple of years ago or whatever. And I put, on both screens, I put a glass protector on it. Protecto. This is a sealed camera. It's a metal body and it's sealed. Whereas the one I'm holding in my hand, the cheaper one, is not. So this can get wet. You can get snow on it. It's not submersible. It's not waterproof. But unlike the camera that I'm holding in my hand, if you're out pressure washing or the humidity comes up or whatever, if you get water on the camera that I'm holding, it's going in the camera that I'm holding, particularly the lens. Whereas this one, the lens is not affected by water, really. And the camera that I'm holding, there is no real record button to push, right? I have this assigned, my shutter button. This is actually the record buttons and for video. So I put a little piece of glue, hot glue, to make a button extender on mine, which I'll show you in a bit. But this one, we don't have to do that. It's just a better camera overall. So again, let's see if we can pick this up. Yeah, there we go. Well, you can see. So it's nice having this extra cage. It's a half cage. And you can even take this piece off if you want. But it gives a little bit more on the battery grip. So this is the A6400. The 6700 uses a bigger battery. So therefore you get, it's a really nice battery. Here, let's turn this back on. It's the same battery in the A7 series. On the full, I think it's the same battery. Whereas this one is a smaller one. So these are really nice APC cameras. Like they're small. Oh man, I gotta take my sweatshirt off. It's getting hot in here. And this lays down nice on the table, even with the bigger lens. It's very stable. It's not going to drop it. Of course, with the smaller lens, it's even better. But I tend not to use the smaller lens. This is a better setup overall. And as I was mentioning before, so yeah, this I just put a shoe style mount on it, and then when you go to slip it in, you slip it in, and then just give it a turn, and it kind of locks into place. But I don't use this that often. It's just when I need it, I've got it set up. I don't use this extender that often either. This is a small rig. With these batteries, I can get the voltage I need, the 12 volt out, excuse me, is it 7.4 for the camera and 12 volt for any light source, right? Any one of my LED lights. All out of a battery like this, or like this, or like this, right? And something like this would run a light and the camera all day long, just about. But most of the time I'd use this if I just want a little bit more power. The batteries that are in there, work pretty good if you're going to do a lot of start and stop. But if you're going to be connecting this thing, and let's say I'm outside or bringing the garage or whatever, and my options are I can use a dummy battery as well. So I can put the dummy battery adapter in to here, and then I can plug that dummy battery adapter into this, and then I can use any one of my batteries, or I can use my 120 volt transformer power supply, which is usually what I do. And so usually I'm on 120 volts, and so I got a wire going up to here from the transformer battery power pack, and I've got an HDMI cable. This is on the stand. It can sit there all day long. Once I set up the shot and I'm happy, I can just keep going. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't used this all that much. Let me see what else I got. I got to turn this heat off. Hold on. So again, on the top here, this is screwed in here. And then it uses this shoe mount. And it's not in the way. The nice thing is it's not in the way of the little light that pops up when you want to take pictures. And another nice thing about this here is that you can grab it. So these cameras are real small, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll take everything off. Not off of this one, but the other one. So it's another way to grab, and then of course you've got a lot more gription here, which is where most of us really grab it from. Because my hands are kind of big, and especially with a big lens on it, if I have a bigger lens on it, you really need a little bit more. And again, the A6700 is about this size, profile-wise, because it uses the bigger battery. Again, this uses the smaller battery. So that's kind of neat, those kind of options there. Trying to think of anything else. So for this I'll deal with, I think this might make noise. It also might input some noise into the camera, maybe a little shorting sound. We'll test that in a bit. You know, like a clicking, funky sound, sending it into the audio signal. I'll have to deal with that. One of the things I wanted to get is the internal mics on these things are actually pretty decent when you're up next to them. But I wanted to get another microphone. This is the only one I currently have, but this is really, these are really great mics. It's a boom style mic, shotgun, so you can be pretty far away from that. And it's directional. And just real quick, so you've also got a 0 dB, -10, and a +20 here on the bottom, which is very useful. Usually I set it to 0, but if you've got a low gain situation, you need more gain, you can bring it up. Or if you just want a quick cut, like for example, if you wanted to start a lawnmower. So you've got it set to where you want it, but we all know what it's like when you start something, you're making all the banging. You could just quickly throw that switch. Hold on, doing it one hand. And there you go, there's your -10. This is your on or off switch. And the one to the far right is what I usually use, because that's a low end cut. It gets rid of certain sounds, and I kind of have a bit of a deeper voice, so it's good for if you have a deeper voice, or if you just don't want to have your audience listen to your neighbor that just started his lawnmower and his weed whacker. That will cut a lot of that noise out of the way. And it's just a standard shoe mount. Oh, why don't you want to cooperate with me? So standard shoe mount down there, right? And it's on an isolator, a partial isolator. So this rubber plasticky thing gives you some suspension. So it has kind of a suspension on it, which is really good. Because a lot of times you see people or you hear people that they're actually put their camera or their microphone on a stand and everything. Somehow or other they've got it on top of their table. And you hear everything they do. You don't want that. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, let's see. What's after that one? I think it's this one. And one last thing about this here, having an offset rather than here as a cold shoe, is you can see, if I can get this on with one hand, which I probably can't. Hold on. I generally don't like to do things with one hand. I'll just kind of put that on there for a moment. All right. And especially if you put a dead cat on. I'll turn the light on. Hold on. If you put a dead cat on this, right, and it's over here, a lot of times, especially if it's a shorter lens, what you'll see is the dead cat will be in your view. It'll be hanging down. You'll be like, what's that fuzzy thing? If you use a microphone like this. So this way, it's just a more natural thing. So this is generally how I would use it, like this, and then this would just plug in over here. And then we got this guy here, which is also kind of a neat, I like this one too. That's what I usually use. So I'll probably leave this in, and then we're going to get another microphone with a small little unidirectional or omnidirectional with a dead cat, optional dead cat. Be small, would just like live right over here, not here, where it would be in your way of everything. Plus, it would be in your way when you go to tilt this up. See, this actually gets in the way a little bit, but it's not a big deal. We can actually fold that out of the way, see? So the dead cat would be out of your way and over here, or the extra microphone or whatever. But until I can afford to buy that or pick one up and figure out what I want to use, I've been wanting one for a year or so now. All right, let me come back to, let's see, I did that. I think this is, yeah, so now, this is, I don't know if you can hear it, but, yeah, here we go. All right, so I just mounted this camera up. Notice where it is in the shop. Battery in it, which is this. So you would just slip the dummy battery in, and this is actually powered right now. So there's actually power on this. Comes down here, goes over to this, and that's plugged in to this outlet. And this other wire is HDMI. All right, so we come up here. That's it. That would go into here, just so you can see. Let's see. I'll just plug that in like that. So then that would come down when the camera is on, and it would come all the way over here. Okay, into this guy, which then also I can control up to 4 cameras or whatever combination. Then that goes into the computer through Open Broadcaster Studio, OBS. And then that you would see, depending on what I put up on this monitor, you would see whatever the camera sees, or whichever camera I'm working with. So that's one way to use it. And the other way is, so again, here's another one of these clamps. I mounted a Ulanzi 4-way or 3-way. And on here is that battery adapter with one of these batteries. And I can see real quick what state of charge I'm in. These are bayonet mount. And right now it can also power the camera. So if I have the dummy battery in, I could simply plug this into the dummy battery, which would be installed in the camera. So I could run it off of this battery in case mains is not available, or I'm just not going to be using, you know, this kind of a setup, right? Somewhere else outside or in the garage or wherever. And you can see it's actually powering this nice light. That's a Nero light. And it's powering it right now. And that'll go on for a long time. This is on an Arctis sort of, you know, swivel. And again, this is mounted here on a T. And these are all cold shoe mounts. So this all comes right off. This can go on top of here as well. So if I don't want the extension, I don't need it. All right, so part of the reason why I use it like that is if you look at the distance that the camera has from, let's say, the work table, it's very, because of the size of the lens, the glass, and the extension boom for both the light and the microphone, and how far back it is. I mean, it's way, way far back. I never hit it. And once in a while, I'll bring the camera a little bit closer, or I'll use the more portable camera, which is this guy. Let me just go grab it real quick. Hold on. We're not using it now, so. All right. So this is just ideas for like what you can do. And you're working in a shop. The one concern I have is, you know, cameras and computers, they don't like shops. Like they don't like what you're doing. How the screen broke, I don't know. I was doing a video outside. I don't know what hell happened. Maybe a temperature change. I don't know. Dust, issues like that. So like this camera here is the one that I'm actually using and walking around with to show that camera. And just a little closer look at it, and you could see what I'm talking about. So this is the one that it actually does a pretty good job. But like I'm saying is let me open up Droid Cam. That Droid Cam? No, that's right monitor. That's Droid. Turn the light on a little bit here. So this is mounted in that big cage right now. And the big cage allows me to, this is also a mounting area. It's pretty wide. So this is your Arca Swiss style or V-mount. Very similar. Basically the same thing. And I could screw anything I want along the sides, but typically I just use it like this. And it comes off really easy. And this one works very well. Like you just right over here. It works really good for like run and gun. The stabilization isn't great, so you have to kind of hold on to it. With the bigger lens, if I put the bigger lens on it, it's better. So we'll take off this frame. And they sell these frames with just about every camera. That keeps everything together very nice. And then I also added on this extender here, which also comes off very easy. And it makes holding the camera very nice. You can put it down real easy, and it just lays nice. It's like a rubber bottom, and it makes the camera very stable. So a lot of times I just use it like this. Now this is the A6000, and it's a cheaper lens and a cheaper camera, and it doesn't have as many settings, but you'll see in a minute how well it works in automatic. You could see right now, it like a lot of these shots I'm taking in low light. The shop, it's dark in the shop. Not right now. I mean, the day I was taking this, I had some lights on, but the shop isn't that bright. And this, even in automatic, can handle it. It has manual settings and stuff, but I tend to use this one in automatic. Now, this just comes right off as well. It does have a little battery adapter. These batteries are very small. There's a little battery adapter there, but you can see both cameras, they're very small. And nice thing about having the cage and maybe this is I'm in a shop working, so my hands get dirty and they get greasy. And you know what? You guys know, you wipe your hands off, but you're wiping your hands off on a rag that probably needs to be thrown out anyway, right? So having that extra bit of grip surface is very nice. Because you're less likely to drop it. And my hands are fairly large, and you can see how easy it is to put this all back together again. It doesn't take very much effort. These frames, most of them, I think, they're all small rigs. So, now this gives me, these are the tiny little batteries that you get, and they're always problematic, so I can get 2 of them in here. And it gives me about 50% more life, which is a lot, because like these batteries give you almost no life. The A6700 uses the same battery as like the A3 style, the full frame cameras. So these things really suffer from, if you just from poor battery issues. But if like this one, it's a start and stop situation most of the time. So, and it's the cheaper camera. So if I really did drop it, I wouldn't feel so terrible. I mean, I don't want that to happen. But let me just show you a little bit more about like how well it does compared to, and I showed you before that in low light, it's atrocious. So it's a different processor. It's everything is different about it than the better camera that I have. So it's horrible in the lower light. But if you're well lit, it makes a difference. Let me back up a little bit. All right, so here, I just actually sanded a battery, this one here. I got to order some new ones, but the case is bulged slightly, and I'll get some more use out of it. I think the first battery to die, I believe, was this one, which was a Sony battery, but it actually just died. And I might keep it around just to maybe make a, like a dummy battery or something. So I have a couple of these. Now, this is a small rig, but you can get different ones. These are really nice clamps, and they have some ones that are really sophisticated, and they spring open or closed, or I don't remember, but they're really nice. They're very useful. 1/4-20 and 3/8, and some of them come with some different adjustments and attachments. That's what I wanted to show you over here. Do I need light? Yeah, let me get the light on. So I did that one. So here's an example of, even with the extra weight.
So this is the other.
So even with a bit of the extra weight from the cage and the lens, what's nice about these cameras is they're really small, and they actually are lightweight. That is an old microphone stand, and it's got a rotor from a car on the bottom of it to give it a bit more stability, but this holds it up no problem.
The reason why I decided to change things up, because even with this bigger lens, and this is a slight, heavier camera with the cage on it, a small half cage, I can still put on this camera and have my overhead without any issues. And it looks pretty good. You can see it's on automatic. It looks pretty good in here. Now, it looks like it's not upside down, I guess you would say so, but I could change that in post, in my editor, without any issue. And sometimes it even looks like I have different cameras on by doing that.
This is all unedited, so.
Now, this is a cheap little camera, a cheap 6000, so this is running at 60 frames per second. It's in auto, and I can't tell you what the ISO is doing, but it's at f3.5, 160, and it should actually be it should be higher than that. The 160 is a little low. It should be 120, but it is in automatic. But it's in a special automatic setting, and if you look, it actually looks pretty damn good overall. The ISO is in auto.
Back there is dark. It's actually dark. It's not. It does not look like that in real life.
Right? It looks pretty damn good. Now, we were over here, and notice that you're not getting all the weird.
All right, this is a little out of sequence, but I'll show you the better camera is going to get real weird when I do this shot. And I'll get to that in a minute. We're almost done.
Artifacts, and I especially like it more now with the extended battery grip, because I can control the camera more. It's not too heavy, and with two hands, I don't get this kind of movement. So that's why I say this is a better camera for automatic use. Although the 1/60th shutter,
it's dark back there.
That's a little bit light.
It does not look like that.
A little bit.
This is bright.
This works
over here,
now,
just over here.
Superior auto, and it's still about the same. I don't think it's changed anything. I still got 160 f3.5, but the ISO's in auto, but I can't tell you what it's doing. But it is at 60p.
Yeah, most of the shop lights are off.
Go a little faster. We'll come back over to here.
But it doesn't get mushy.
Well, now it's sucking.
It's just a bit of noise.
Off of the camera, and I like to go through the USB. I can charge the battery at the same time. But notice it's dark over here. It's not trying to overcompensate, but it is dark. And if we put a little light on,
yeah, you can put a little bit of light on.
There you go. And with a little bit of light, just a little bit.
She's having to deal with
a lot better.
This is what I mean about dynamic range. It's having to deal with. We back up a little bit. The brightness of these monitors. They're on white right now. There's a white screen back there. This is a dark environment, and yet it's still with a little bit of that little light on the camera and this dark area here with a black object. It does a pretty good job considering how low the light is and the brightness in front, which is where like I said, dynamic range, the difference between the brightest thing. You would never do this. This is a test. You would, as a photographer or a videographer, you would never set up a shot like this. This was a no-no. You don't let this happen and put it out there in the world if you're not doing a test.
But it looks a lot better. Kind of brings out the shadows a little bit more. And this is a really nice, that's what I like about it. And the mic isn't terrible, and I can boost it up quite a bit in post.
You're hearing it raw. I didn't touch it.
Really nice. I mean, it can be, you know, it doesn't have great stabilization. With the better lens, it actually works a lot better.
Well, let's see. Now I think somewhere in here, yeah, it's is it here? It's a 6400. Let me scroll to here. I think it might be here. Let me find it. Yeah, here we go. Now, some of this there's no audio, so I'm just going to run through it. So this is some shots with the 6400, the better camera, in automatic. And these are see what it's doing? Now, this isn't automatic with the better camera. It can't handle it. Remember the shot before? And now is this shot. It's completely overcompensated. The colors are washed. Everything in the background is gross. Look, now it's getting darker. It doesn't know what to do. Nothing's changed. I'm just moving the camera. So it falls on its face. And one of the reasons why is because it has a very high gain camera. It's over 10,000 something. I forget what it is. 100,000. I think it's like 100,000 ISO. It's ridiculous numbers that this thing can hit. So it really has no way of dealing with that. It's not meant for automatic in low light. It can handle low light really well, but it just, look at the difference in sizes of the batteries. That's the little one that goes in the camera, and you can see why they die so quick. Let me just scroll through some of this. So I'm actually looking at the 6000, the one that we were taking most of the footage on, and the one I just showed you on the table here. And I don't know what I'm saying, but it's not important. That's just another look at that cage, and we'll scroll through. And what I want to show is how weird it gets. So you can see.
I made some changes.
Here we go.
So what I did was I put it in an auto mode, but this auto mode is a little different. It takes my shutter priority, basically gives my shutter, I control the shutter manually, because I'm running at 30 frames right now, and basically this is like a 4K. So as I move it around, okay, my shutter should see, essentially what it's doing is it's locked in at 160. Okay. And you can see, and the ISO's moving around, and also it's at f3.5, but you just saw the f-stop move a little bit. 4, 5, 6, 7. It's helping. Now the ISO's a little bit lower. That's important. Okay, now I just kind of really took that white there.
It's freaking out.
But it's keeping my ISO around 400. So you're trying to find a nice spot for it. And there's some micro adjustments you can do.
Yeah, it's
but
terrible.
You want the shutter to be things up. That's why a lot of cameras look all washed out and horrible. We'll stay focused on that in a bit. But yeah, you'll wind up screwing things up. That's why a lot of cameras look all washed out and horrible. So this is the A6000 with this battery extender on it. It does hybrid sort of. Sometimes I can actually override with.
Let's see. Let's move to the next one real quick. Just a couple more.
So you can see how small it is. Now it's still got that little battery thing in there.
Yeah, I showed that.
50 megabits per second. At its hot.
This is it doing something else now. It's having a different problem, and this is what automatic does sometimes. This is just the camera does not know what to do, and it's a much better camera than the one that we're looking at. But the one that we're looking at is a better camera for automatic mode. It does have manual adjustments and everything, but for whatever reason, the way it handles automatic and light changes and shifts. Oh, what's that? Whoa, where'd that come from, right? What the hell is the camera doing? It doesn't know what to do. And I wanted to show that. So even though it's a better camera, it's not for automatic. It really isn't. It's not going to be for that. This is just a quick look at the K&F Concepts one of the stands that I have. And they're not that expensive. I would recommend it. I would recommend this style. I have it set up a little bit different. That's the Arca Swiss style mount. I would get the cam lock. I wouldn't get the one. I have another one with a twist lock, and it's like a collet, but uses a plastic insert, and one of the plastic inserts broke. Yeah, you could drop a multi-$1,000 camera. Let's see. I don't think there's any audio on this. It's just another look. I'm just doing some more tests. Again, in automatic. Now, as it's moving around in automatic, it does not look anything like the cheaper camera. This looks horrible. It's getting dark. It's getting bright. It sees that rag. That rag is green. It can't make it green. It's just absolutely freaking out. So it's not a good camera for low light in automatic mode. Now, I wanted to shoot this. This is the cheaper camera with the extender pack on it, and it's still light enough to be up there on that pole. And once again, the more expensive camera, it is having a problem capturing these images in a darker setting in automatic. Whereas the one we're looking at had no issue doing it. So just because you spend more money on a camera, there's different technologies and technology levels. Money does not necessarily, whoa, what's it doing there? It's just like freaking out, right? Money does not necessarily equate to better. I think this is just a few things that I wanted to show you. This is a nice little Ulanzi mount. That's the aperture light. I like this. It's all metal, steel and aluminum, and you could mount it a few different ways. It'll mount in a shoe, in a Arca Swiss style mount, like on the stand. It will. You got a quarter 20. Did you see that? It just brightened up. Yeah. So it's got a lot you can do. And you just sort of twist it and turn it and tweak it. See, it fits into these style mounts. Watch. That's really neat. Or quarter 20. And that little twisty knob on the top just tightens down that upper clamp onto your phone, your cell phone. You determine how tight you want to make it and where you want to put it. It's not sprung load. It doesn't pop out of your hands and you could wind up dropping the phone, like some of these sprung load units that are just crazy. Everything goes flying. And then you can also turn it, I think this way. Yeah. So you could mount it on your stand like this if you want to do your vertical shots for your shorts. And I like them set up this way. It's not the only way I use it. Or you can also take that out and use it as a selfie stick. So there's a lot you can do with these. Yeah, see, it's freaking out again. Let's see what else we got. We're almost done here. Oh, watch this. Okay. Look at it, it's freaking out. Right? And that's the better camera. But again, it's just better, more expensive, but not for automatic, not in low light. It can handle low light, but in manual. Look at that. It's all white. And I was over at this table earlier showing you the shot with the cheaper camera, and it looked fine in a really low light, crappy lit scenario. So this is what you're up against. There's no one solution for everything. There's a lot of advantages to using cameras like this because you can do so many things with it. And here it is. It's basically the same shot, and it's calmed down. I haven't touched anything. All right. I just simply walked away and came back, and there it goes. It got too bright again. So I thought that would just be interesting to show some of that. Let me come back, and we're going to get out of here in a minute. So now we're back on that same camera that was freaking out, but I have it in a very low light situation, and I'm running it in manual, and you can see it. It looks fine. It does very good. It does better than this cheaper one in this light. And even this one has to be run in manual in this level of light, this very low, very contrasty style of light. So there's no one solution to any of these things. There's advantages to cameras like this. You can do a lot with them. And as I was saying earlier, when I want to get a close-up shot, just real quick, run and gun, I grab this camera. I don't care what light it is. I can take this camera and walk from the dark in here through the door out to the outside and go, hey, look, fellas, right? And it will compensate quickly. I can't do that with this camera. It won't do it as well. Not as well as this. Once I'm outside, it's not a problem. But this camera really can't do, this one here, can't really do what that one can do. And having that camera mounted further away from my work, and either I can zoom in optically and I can give you the close up, or make you feel like the camera's right there. And I mentioned that Brett zoomed in and the image was horrible. That does not happen with this camera. I do not use it that way. I don't digitally zoom this camera. Not on the camera. I can digitally zoom, or what we call punch in Edit, in DaVinci. And you see those shots a lot. Or I can do it with the lens. Now, the lens is good because I can physically magnify the image that is sent at the sensor. However, it's the lens. When you do that, the lens is going to darken. The f-stop is going to go up, which means I'm going to have to compensate the amount of light that's on the object. So I can't just take it, walk up to it, show you an establishing shot, which is the widescreen, and then go, oh, let's look at that thing, and then crank it in, unless it's an automatic. Because if I crank it in, the image is going to get darker. I'll have to put light on it, or I'll have to go around back and gain up the sensor, or try to leave it in automatic and hope that it does the right job. I don't use it that way because it's hoping. And what you wind up with is a crappy image. Like I said, when Brett zoomed in, even though that cell phone's really good, it falls on its face when you go to do that. So how I avoid it is I leave the lens wide open. I'm running this in 4K. It's run at 100 megabits per second, which is maxed out. That's basically like 10-bit. And I go into my editor, and I'll start off with an opening shot, what we call an establishing shot, so you get a sense of where we are in space and time, because the camera is far away. So I can say, hey, everybody, we're going to be working on this. Let's go take a look at the carburetor. I want to show you this coil. And then, because it's capturing so much of the image, with the lighting and everything that I have set up, I then, in Edit, I punch in digitally, but it's not digitally on the camera, and I don't have to change. It doesn't change the f-stop. It doesn't darken. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't get fuzzy. I can go in deep, and even though the camera's far away, I can go in real deep. I cannot do that with this camera, and you cannot do that with a cell phone. The sensors are too small. The image isn't there. The definition's not high enough. You have to physically move the cell phone in closer. Or in this camera, you saw how I mounted this camera over the workbench. With this lens, it has a small zoom factor on it. If I want to get closer to the thing I'm working on, I can increase the zoom factor slightly, and it will look pretty good. But I cannot digitally punch in, because the image falls apart when I do that quick. And we're only talking about this much of a distance. That's about it, right? So my choice is either lower the camera, which kind of sucks because I'm moving that thing up and down and it's tight. So you don't really want to do that. You want to establish the height you want to work with first and bolt it down and leave it. So the camera is safe. It's not going to fall. The other option I have is to then hit the zoom and pull it in tighter, or nothing. Or I get nothing. And if I want to hold something closer, I'm going to have to physically take the thing and push it up. When you do that, you then risk having it go out of focus, and you have focus anomalies and things like that. So when we go to, as mechanics, when we go to work with these cameras, the automatic will not solve all your problems. Sooner or later, the average person is going to use the camera in a way that the camera can't really work, and the image is going to suffer, and it's going to go in and out of focus, and it's going to do weird things, and it'll focus breathe, and it'll get all weird, and the image will suffer. And the thing that we're trying to show, really, you might say it's okay, but sometimes it just doesn't even work. It's horrible. So anyway, I'm getting tired. That's it for tonight. I'm glad you guys stopped in. We are way over budget on time. And, but it was fun and I enjoyed it. And I'm glad you guys came along. My voice is already going because my throat is not fully healed from whatever the hell is going on. Everybody around me is sick. So I've been trying to avoid people for the past few days. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Look, I'm like ready to crack. Thanks for stopping in, Arches Garage. I'll see you guys later. Get it!